validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
There it goes. Look at that. Technical difficulties. It's reckless around here. I'm like, why is the screen not popping up? I forgot to put myself in the queue. Lord have mercy. Thank you guys for coming to this and that. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And today's one of them days we see that the internet is going down again. So we are tiptoeing on bad bandwidth today. So we see how long that this survives before it drops off. But as it stands right now, we should be doing okay. So we're going to try to run this until it gets better. Remember, I had that conversation with y'all yesterday that they be taking $150 off my bill. Well, whoop, there it go. Because, I mean, I got bad bandwidth right now. So I call them and complain like, man, it ain't working right. They can't say that that's not the case because it ain't working right. Now, I told you guys we have a country of choice every Wednesday, and I decided to do two countries today. So we're talking about Cambodia first. And then the next country we're going to be talking about is Laos, because that's right next door. And then I still got to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of the month as far as which countries. I might do two countries a day. It depends on how I gather information about each country. But as it stands, I am going to be trying to get some other topics going on Thursday through Sunday. As you guys seen, I did get uh, the information from the Fit Chef, so that one is there for us. And then we also have got the links from Vino Cato, so that's in the works there. And my next step is to do some collaborative videos with those and get those up there and then show you guys what it looks like once I get my hands on it. So I'm also going to see what I can do about Fit Chef to see if I can get a sample of what they do, well, what they have, because I already know what they do. They help you out with recipes on how to take better care of yourself. They are different from Discovery, because Discovery charges you $5 a month for unlimited recipes, but Fit Chef actually gives you a diet plan that you can follow and potential recipes that you can utilize in order to improve your ability to achieve your goals, whether it's slimming down, maintaining weight, increasing muscle mass, stuff to that effect. So I'm going to see how that works out. But we're going to tiptoe into that one coming soon. That one does have a membership of, I do believe it's like $7 a month or like $100 a year. Oh no, it's $14.99 a month or $100 a year, something like that. So I'm digging a little bit deeper into those, but I believe that anybody who can provide you with information to help you diversify your eating habits, then might as well go ahead and look into that, because I mean, since Cooking with Kai is no longer out there, we're gonna see what else we can do as far as finding ways to get us some good food. Now, I more than love the way Cooking with Kaya did what she did, but I'm also concerned about the portion sizes that she provided, because I mean, that was some big man meals. And I mean, yeah, that's good. It looks pretty on the video, but I mean, that's a pretty pricey. Like, some of the stuff she was doing was like $50 sandwiches, the way she was putting that stuff together. So what I'm going to be doing is, not only am I going to be, when I do put these videos together, I'm going to be providing like the ingredients and everything that was utilized, but I'm going to like put the video up there, put it together, show you what it looks like, and then show the price of how much it costs to make that that meal, and like how many servings is involved in it if I'm using regular serving sizes or above average American style serving sizes. So we're going to be dealing with that coming soon as well. With that being said, and then I'm going to try my best to do a lot of the cooking using the Vino Canto wine as soon as I get my hands on it. So we're going to be seeing how that works as well. So note, we're going to be drinking and eating as we make money on the sidelines, because the dividend distributions are coming in this month. All of the quarterlies are that I have are paying out this month, and all of the monthlies are paying out this month as well. So between now and I think the 7th of April, I should be getting all of my dividend distribution. So I'll be able to give you the percentage yield of the average percentage yield of the investments that I did over the past 30 days, and then start moving money around and making things do what it do, so that I can continue to make us more successful. Now, nevertheless, we still have to cover a lot of other things and pay attention to some of the changes. But as I told you, that as we tiptoe into this recession, the recession is a rich man's nightmare and a poor man's dream, because coming out of that recession, a rich man can become poor and a poor man can become rich. So if you are not already over $100,000 a year income, or if you are not already sitting on $500,000 or $1 million worth of assets, we can work our way up to that together, as I'm investing in some of these cash stocks, where we can utilize the benefits of cash stocks and redirect funds into different places where we can make ourselves make money for us, so that we don't have to do backbreaking labor or exhaust our time to get a paycheck, where the limitations of how much money we make is based off of our availability and our lack of sleep. I want to make some adjustments on that. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. I want you guys to mash those reaction buttons as you see them. because that kind of gives us the ability to trigger the algorithm and get out there and go and get seen, because we are one of the most underrated podcasts that is providing the most information for the average individual to better themselves financially and better themselves in their social lives, in their personal lives. So we're going to be doing a lot of personal growth scenarios. Few special shout outs, Red Void, Omni81, Mr. Pibbs, Liberty Twitcher. Usman should be coming in soon. Mr. Satellite always comes in. We're looking at Z Bayside. We're waiting on you guys to pop up tonight, because we're going to be talking about, because I think Bayside had a question yesterday, and Bayside was asking about some voice jobs that he could do because he's a translator and stuff to that effect. So I found some ways where you could get paid to talk. That's not a podcast. So we're going to be talking about that later today. Make sure that you hang out for that. Look at that. It's Chargers are off tilt today. So we're going to be talking about that later today. Make sure that you guys hang out for that. Also note that in the comment section, you guys can see on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, you guys can all see in your comment section, there is a link at the top of the stream where you can click that link if you want to come into the show, approve the mic, approve the camera, and it brings you on in real time. You got to be appropriate with your comments and your attire. So greatly appreciate that in order for you to get up on the screen, because I can see you if you dive in, but if you are appropriate, everybody else can see you, because I'll put you up on the screen and then we can have a real-time discussion. Whether you agree with my information or if you disagree, doesn't change my conservation or my ability to present the information from a factual basis. So yeah, open-minded, open mic, open forum podcast that we look forward to getting you guys in there. As I told y'all, he's here. So we're starting off. Back again from yesterday. We've got Bayside. I got the answers to your questions. I think it was either you or Z who was talking about getting paid to use your voice or translations. I got you guys. So as you guys pop into the comment section, I give you guys a little bit of our Higher Ground album so that you guys can enjoy what I enjoy on a daily basis. This is almost like Kid Rock. Like I'm thinking about Tony Hawk Pro Skater on this one. I love it. Let's go. All right, now. So as I was saying, as you jumped in, I decided, because I hadn't picked a country yesterday, so I decided I picked two countries. Today we're going to be talking about Cambodia, and we're going to be talking about Laos, and we're going to be talking about different jobs that you can get paid off of by using your voice or translations or transcriptions. So since the question was asked yesterday, I said that I won't let two shows go by without me answering that question. He asked a question and I got the answer to his question. So we're going to first start talking about Cambodia, then we're going to talk about Laos, then we're going to talk about all the ways that you can get paid to talk to or for somebody else. Crazy. I've been busy since yesterday. Like basically I had enough time to do all of the other contracts that I had, taking that wake up, dive back in on more contracts and go straight into today's show. So I have not had a moment to sit back and say, oh, I'm going to relax for right now. And tomorrow's my day off. I'm going to have so much stuff to do. When you're scaling up your life, you never have free time. I've been all tired last 2 nights. I'm feeling better now. Hurt my back. Learning from you, so I didn't have to break my back to earn, as you said, brother. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you hurt your back, and I'm glad to hear that you're finding other ways. As we get older, Bayside, the issue is that we're not physically capable to do what we used to do when we was 20. You know what I'm saying? Some of us used to be able to pick up cars and flip them for fun, and now some of us have trouble with getting up 3 flights of stairs. So the fact is that our physical condition is not always going to be there the same way a woman's beauty is not always going to be there. And we have to find other ways to make money when what we used to make money with is no longer accessible to us. That's the reason why we teach our kids to don't depend on that athletic scholarship or that athletic contract, because once you get injured, they cut you from the team and you're no longer getting paid. So you got to have a skill set outside of being an athlete so that you can continue to make money after you stop playing the game. And I teach you guys the same thing, that in order for us to be prepared for when our bodies can't do it anymore, we have to build our wealth while we are in good health, so that when we are in bad health, we can ride the wave and our standard of living is not going to diminish in any way, shape, or form. If we can continue to work towards our 20-year plan or our 10-year plan in some situations and make it to a substantial standard of living where we don't have to work at all and our partner doesn't have to work at all, and we have extra money to travel the world with after our standard of living is paid, we have the ability to have the back end of our life benefit from the first 3/4 of our life being hell. So it's almost like being on the Saints, where you lost the first 3/4 and now on quarter 4 you make a massive comeback. We can't do that if we don't find another way. So I just keep looking for another way, and I keep bringing it to you guys every day, every week. And if you start applying enough of it, you'll come to find out that you're not going to have to break your back anymore. So once your back heals from that injury, you're going to be resting. Even if you do get out and do some stuff, you're not going to be doing excessive strenuous work because you're making money from somewhere else. You can do less manual labor and do more mental labor and be able to bring you some income in until you have enough residual income coming in where you don't have to work at all. Now, I understand that there's a transitional phase because we have to change our mindset from being a hard worker to being a smart thinker that is going to allow us to invest our capital in places where our money is going to make money for us while we sleep. That is something that we don't think about. And since that is something we don't think about, we have to reassign ourselves from being at the bottom of the pyramid to being at the top of the pyramid. In order to be a boss, you have to think about ways to delegate your responsibilities to somebody else. You have to derive ways to generate more revenue so that you can pay other people to make the decisions that you don't want to make, or pay other people to do the tasks that you don't want to do, but you're still delegating. And the more stuff that you delegate, the more free time that you have. And that's one of the things that I'm working on right now is changing my scenario so that I have more capital coming in. Since I don't have anybody to delegate to, I can actually hire individuals to take some of my responsibilities off of my plate so that I don't have so many responsibilities, which allows me to free up more time to do other things, which is one of the things that I tell ladies is like, if you're looking for a man with potential and he's on the grind, in order for him to give you the time of day, you got to take some of his grind off of his plate, because he's going to instinctively take your responsibility and add to his already 180 or 160 hour a week schedule. So if you take some of the easy stuff off of his plate, he's doing the hard stuff. You're still aiding him in his success. And as long as we're able to change that mindset, we're going to find ourselves making so much more progress, because instead of being stressed out because you got so much to do and so little time to do it, and I'm going to put it off till tomorrow because I'm tired, I'm mentally stressed, I'm physically worn out, and keep putting it off and keep putting it off. And then you think about it like, man, I've been trying to do this for 6 months. When you sit down and say, you know what, I'm going to sit here until I accomplish this one thing. And then after you do that, you take your break and you come back. I'm going to sit here until I accomplish this second thing. And you keep doing that. You're going to come to find out that list of to-dos gets shorter. Bayside says, yes, changing mindset and fear. The craziest thing about fear is, since we have the fear of success combined with the fear of failure and the anxiety of the unknown, the 3 different levels of fear, because of fear of the unknown. Fact is, we don't know if we're going to make it. We're afraid to fail. And we don't know if we can maintain success once we get there. And these 3 levels of fear will compel us to not even try. It'll compel us to sabotage ourselves in the beginning so that we fail with minimal effort so that we can say, well, I tried. Well, if your job was to go and call somebody and provide information to them or receive information from them, you call them, they didn't answer the phone, you never called them back. You're waiting on their call, but they're not calling you. You're not sending them an email. You're not sending them a text message. You didn't reach them though. You can't say, well, I did everything that I could. At the end of the day, there was other things you could have done, but you did the bare minimum as if that would be acceptable. That's not acceptable. When you reach a certain age in your life, don't think that just because you're old or older, that people respect you because they have to do stuff for you. Some people take care of the elderly because the elderly are in the way. I'm not going to lie. They're not necessarily always doing it because they care about that person. That person is an obstacle to their daily objectives, however that may be. And that's some of the reasons why some people invest themselves into looking out for some of the elderly individuals. Like, for example, if they're trying to pay for something and it's taking them too long to pay, you will help them pay so that they can get out of the line, or pay for them so that they can get out of the line so that you can get your stuff done. That doesn't mean that they respect you or value you. That just means that they want you to get out of their way to the magnitude that they will do it for you so that you can get out of the way. So presenting yourself as an older person with the mentality that I don't know how to do it or I can't do it, that's not good for you. That's a bad look, because at the end of the day, in this country, don't nobody care about you. In a capitalist country, don't nobody care about you. Your family barely care about you. If you will notice in your life that the people that matter to you the most invest in you with no expectation for reciprocation. The people who only come to you when they can get something out of the deal, or only come to you when times are good and when times get tough, where assistance is needed, they disappear. They come back and they'll listen to you complain about the trials and tribulations that you've overcome, but they don't come back until you've overcome those trials. If they hear that you're going into some trials and tribulations, they may not stay. They may get busy, and then they don't come back for a few weeks or a couple months until you get your shit together. Then when you get your shit together, then they want to come back and hang out, catch up like old times. Entertainment friends are not friends. There are people that benefit from your ability to waste money. Basically, I said, oh, absolutely right. They don't care. And the fact is that those of us that take care of our family members, our ancestors, we're doing that out of duty. Most of us take care of our relatives because we're duty bound instinctively, especially men. And that's one of the things that women don't understand. Men are duty bound. So when a man finds a purpose, he sticks to that, loyalty or no. He could be mistreated. He could be abused. He's going to stick to his cause because he has made that his duty to stick to that cause by any means necessary. Now that allows him to be taken advantage of. But the fact of the matter is that when we say men are loyal and women say no, they're not, the stuff that women can do to a man and a man will tolerate, that's because he has made you his priority, duty bound. And when we're duty bound to the elders, it's not always because we love and care for our relatives. Yeah, we're going to say that, but let's be honest, first person accountability, that we have a duty to that person for some reason. And whatever that duty is, that is why we're putting up with the bullshit that we're putting up with. Because truth is, if the situation was on the other foot, the only ones that would be duty bound to do for you would be the people that created you. Your mom, your dad, your adopted parents, the duty bound, the aunt or uncle that raised you since you and them were kids, duty bound. But they're not doing it out of the sake of how they feel about you. Because when you piss them off and they wish that you could just choke on an exhaust pipe, they're going to look after you because they're duty bound, not because they care about you, because they could be hating your guts right now, thinking all kinds of nasty stuff about you, but they still going to come through for you in a pinch. That's duty bound. They could not have nothing positive to say about you, but they're going to come and get you out of trouble. Again, that's duty bound. And we have to not misconstrue that difference between that and love, because you can love somebody and not do nothing for them, and you can hate their guts, and you can do everything they need to keep them from messing up their life. So we have to compartmentalize the difference between the two. But now that I got that out of the way, we have our little daily scripture, and then we're going to slide into the topic of the day. Let's go ahead and jump in on Cambodia secrets, because we're going to be trying to build massive wealth on a budget now, and we're going to be able to see if we can uncover the best tips without breaking the bank in Cambodia. Now, Cambodia has quickly become a rising destination for budget travelers and investors, offering unique opportunities for wealth generation that are hard to find in other parts of the world. And I came across Cambodia because one of the fans that came to the show was talking to me while we were doing another country. I think we were covering either Thailand or the Philippines. And the lady was talking about Cambodia. And I was like, oh, yeah, I got to look into Cambodia. So that's one of the reasons why I did Cambodia today, because I said it that many months ago that I was going to do Cambodia, and I haven't done it yet. So I'm doing it today. And many people believe that accumulating wealth requires living the inexpensive lifestyle, and that's not the truth. So affordable regions like Cambodia offer a hidden potential for wealth accumulation that is often overlooked, and the cost of living in Cambodia is significantly lower than in many Western countries. So that's going to make this location an attractive option for those looking to stretch their dollar. Now, expensive countries often come with high taxes, expensive houses, and high cost of living, which can quickly eat into your savings and make it difficult to accumulate wealth. In contrast, countries like Cambodia offer a much lower cost of living, making it easier to save money and invest in assets that will generate passive income. And this can be a game changer for those looking to build wealth on a budget. Now, the idea that wealth can only be achieved in expensive countries is going to be a huge misconception, because actually every country has a pretty decent sized GDP where you're looking at anywhere between 25 and 50% increase on your investments if you're financially investing in the country. And a lot of the countries have incentives that offers you tax exemptions and other financial incentives to put your foreign money into their economy. And then some of the countries offer you tax exemption on some of the investments that you make in their country when your investments turn out dividends and revenue. So you got to look into each one of the countries. And since we have debunked this time and time again, that you got to have a lot of money to go places, and you got to spend a lot of money to get you some money. I mean, yeah, the cost of doing business is going to cost you some money, but it is not significant quantities of money. I know somebody who just took $2,000 of their income tax refund and just went and paid off not all of it, just the back payments that they owe on their credit cards. I'm like, what? That was the dumbest decision that anybody could ever make. I'm going to be real with you. I said, man, that I would have charged off them cards, and I would have took that $2,000 and I would have invested it somewhere else. I would not have. You're telling me all the credit cards are overdrawn, and you're going to put the $2,000 on the overdraft? So you're paying on the interest alone. You're not putting anything towards the principal. You can't afford the monthly payments anyway. I would have charged off all of them cards and took that $2,000 and did something else with it. I would have did something that would have generated revenue, because I mean, if you're in that kind of financial bind, technically, at least here in America, that debt is only accessible by the creditor 3 years, 4 years, depending on what state you live in, at max. After that, they can't come after you for the money, which means that all you've got to do is send them a cease and desist letter, which will stop them from contacting you about it until they sell it to somebody else. And they can keep reporting it to the 3 major credit agencies for 7 years. But if you're not going to pay it, who cares? Then if they sell it to somebody else, they're no longer reporting to the 3 major credit agencies. The third party that buys it cannot report it to the 3 major credit agencies. You can send them a written letter that requests them to remove any third-party debt collections off of the three major credit agencies, because that's a violation of federal law that they're not supposed to do that. But they have been getting away with that because nobody pays attention to their credit score. And then when they go to try to buy something and it's based off of their credit score, they have higher premiums or they have higher interest rates because they have bad credit, and they're trying to fix their credit without ever knowing what's going on with their credit. They just figure, leave the bad stuff bad, and I'm going to go and just get me some new credit cards and build credit to offset the debt that's in my past. Well, no, you have to remove the debt that's in your past that's not supposed to be in there so that you can have maximum results with building your credit. And when you have maximum results with building your credit, your insurance goes down, your loan payments go down. You could probably get refinanced for lower interest rates if you can get your credit score to go up high enough in some situations. Now, I was telling the person, I was like, yeah, you could have did so much other stuff with that. Because just like I was talking to you guys a couple of weeks ago, that, $2,500, $5,000, you could put that in there and get 15% back off of that. And at 15%, you're getting back what? $150 per $1,000 that you invest. So this person had $2,000, they could have got back $300. So I'm trying to figure out, like, why did they not invest that? Because if you would have been getting back $300 off of $2,000, then especially if you're getting that $300 every month, that could be paying for the credit cards instead of the getting rid of the principal. Now you got to go out and work and make extra money. I'm like, shit, not I. But many of the successful entrepreneurs and investors have made their fortunes in affordable regions like Cambodia, where the cost of living is low and the potential for growth is high. By understanding this, you can start to see the potential for building wealth, and you'll be able to do this in a budget-friendly manner. Now, investigating in Cambodia can be something that might take you a little bit of a challenge if you're not in Cambodia, but when you start investing in it, it's going to be a lucrative venture with many opportunities for business and real estate investments. I don't recall naming Cambodia as one of the ones that has precious metals, but I mean, if you're traveling the world and you're investing in every country that you go to, eventually you're going to end up in Cambodia, and real estate is a good thing to invest in every country. No matter what it is. And then the cost of rebuilding a property or rehabilitating a property in another country could be offset internationally on the profits that you make in America. So you can always consider that if you have high interest stocks and bonds in America, and you have offshore companies that are or offshore branches of the company that are operating in other countries, the investment in a startup in another country can be a tax write-off on the profits in the United States. So, and then the United States, I think somewhere between $150,000 and $225,000, they don't even tax you on that. But that's like worldwide revenue that's outside of the United States. If you claim it, gotta claim it. Now, the country is rapidly developing the demand for housing, tourism, and other services that are going to be on the rise. So by investing in these areas, you can generate significant returns, because you can go into real estate. You can buy a property and turn it into an Airbnb. You can buy a property, turn it into a hotel, and then you can staff everybody and rent out that hotel. You can buy a apartment complex, and you can buy a plaza. You can have the employees that work at the plaza live in your apartment complex. So your employees are paying you rent. So you're making money back off of the labor costs from the restaurant. Just saying, there are things that you can do if you put your money in the right places the right way. By investing in these areas, you can generate significant returns on your investments and build wealth over time. Nothing is going to be an overnight thing. Everything is going to be a slow grind. And that slow grind, like I say, it's a 10 or 20 year plan. And that slow grind, you're going to start seeing the rewards reaped sooner rather than later, when you stop making impulse buys where you don't have enough money to get to the next payout. Once you stop making those impulse buys, you start seeing a larger quantity of wealth being distributed in your direction. And that's when you can say, oh, Dip, I can afford everything. And then you're going to go from being able to afford everything where you don't have to borrow anything from anybody to being able to square away some of the debts that you owe by using the profits from your dividends, not your principal. Your principal covers your base if you're going to do that. And then the difference is going to go into the stock option. And then the distribution from the stock option, that starts paying off back debt. Because anytime that you pay off debt with your dividends, that's going to be offset. So it's a tax write-off. There's a benefit. So that's when I start going after my debt, when my debt is writing off the taxes of my profits. That way the ends justify the means. But taking my principal and dumping it on debt, no, that's a waste of time and money. Now, Cambodia also offers a range of business ventures from agricultural to technology, and that can provide a steady stream of income on top of your other investments. Now, one way to generate wealth in Cambodia outside of the real estate is going to the growing property markets that are in those affordable housing regions by renting instead of just buying, because you want to buy and hold the properties and rent them out so that they give you residual incomes. Now, this is going to be a new steady stream of passive income, which can be used to fund other investment opportunities, because you can do two things. You can start up a real estate investment company, start up a holding company, have the holding company own the property, lease the usage of the property to the rental company, to the LLC, use the LLC to sign contracts for rental stuff, and then have the profits from that pay for the usage of the property to the holding company, have the holding company pay the expenses of the property, which offsets the expenses of the taxes and expenses of the holding company, but that offsets profits that you're making from renting out the properties, which reduces the profit margin and reduces taxation. But by doing this, you can then leverage some of these properties as collateral to go and get another property. And if you've got all of these things is being built over there, like it makes the profits will then help you out, because the profits that you get from that, you can actually go and invest in other real estate. You can go invest in other business ventures. You can invest in real estate in another country, because it doesn't matter where the properties are located at, as long as the accessibility to claim the deed is there. And this is going to be useful with those other ventures. Now, the cost of living in Cambodia is very low, very, very low, almost like Japan low. And it's an ideal location for digital nomads and remote workers. So since I gave you guys an hour and 30 minutes worth of jobs that you can do off the computer yesterday, as a matter of fact, yesterday, there isn't a reason why you don't have a second income coming in. Even if you just started it up yesterday, and it looks like you're going to have to put in 5 or 10 more days before you start seeing a full paycheck off of it. Fact is, by the end of April, you should start seeing some money coming back from our conversation from yesterday, no matter what you get into. Now, the cost of living in Cambodia is one of the lowest in the world, making it an attractive option for those looking to retire or live on a budget. And the country offers a range of affordable accommodation options, from apartment houses and from apartments to houses, and the cost of food and transportation, which is very, very low. Now, this makes it an ideal location for those looking to stretch their dollars and build wealth over time. With the money you save, you can invest in other assets such as stocks, more real estate, and generate even more wealth. Now, Cambodia offers unique opportunities for building wealth on a budget by leveraging its low cost of living, growing economy, and investment-friendly policies. Cambodia is one of the cheapest places to live, with monthly expenses ranging from $1,000 to $1,500 for retirees or budget conscious individuals. So if you're making $2,100 a month from your from your Social Security benefits, or some of you guys is getting a little bit of VA benefits, and you're making about $2,000, you could take that and go over there and spend $1,000 a month on the standard of living in Cambodia. Now, affordable housing, inexpensive food, and low transportation costs make it easier to save and reinvest. Foreign investors can own 100% of their business without needing local partners like they do in the Philippines, thanks to Cambodia's liberal investment framework. So the government also offers incentives through updated investment laws, where Cambodia's GDP growth remains strong, projected at 6.7%, which is about 2.5% higher than the US right now because of the tariffs. And this economic stability supports long-term investment opportunities. Phnom Penh is experiencing rapid urbanization with high rental yields in areas like Phnom Penh and Tol Korp. Investing in luxury condos or commercial spaces can yield significant returns. Siem Reap and Sihanoukville are ideal for hospitality investments due to the rise in tourist demands. Hotel and resorts in these areas often steady income and increases in potential as tourism increases in Asia. Renting or purchasing properties outside the city's center can save up to $2,400 annually while providing opportunities for rental income. When you think about how a lot of the places out there are like $700 a month, $800 a month for the standard of living, not just a house. You save $1,000, you save like a month and a half worth of rent or a mortgage. Starting a small business like a boutique, hotels, or cafes in tourist hotspots can be profitable due to Cambodia's growing tourism. Now, you know what I was thinking, Bayside, when I was putting this together, and I was watching anime while I was putting this together, because the first thing I thought about was I could go to a place like Cambodia or Japan or Vietnam, and I can buy a cafe or 5 and start up a franchise of made cafes. Just make some real to life made cafes. Hire a bunch of Asian women, put them in some French made outfits, and let them be themselves. And just make millions. Matter of fact, if I was to fly a few of those Asian women over to America and create a maid cafe in America, we'd make even more millions. Just saying. For a man to go to a place and get reasonable priced food where a woman is treating him with respect the whole time he's eating, I tell you what, it'll be every man's dream. And the economy is driven by men's impulse buying outside of women's frivolous spending. So if a man can be treated better, he'll spend a bunch of money. Look at the porn industry. If you can make billions of dollars off of pornography, you can definitely make a couple $1 million off of some maid cafes. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of them things. Now, entrepreneurs can leverage low operational costs to sell products globally, as demonstrated by some of the other business people that are thriving in Phnom Penh. And Cambodia's fertile lands and strong agricultural sectors provide opportunities for investments in farming or export-oriented ventures like rice production. And I got to tell you, my dogs love rice. One of the things I was thinking about when I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get me an Asian woman. And then I was like, oh wait, they really like rice. I wonder how they would feel if they saw me cook some rice, make a plate of food, and then just hand it to the dog. Like literally sit there in front of the stove for like 15, 20 minutes, cooking a whole meal, and then sit it on the floor for the dog, and then go back in there and cook another meal and give it to the other dog before I make myself a meal and go and eat that. Where likely, depending on how much the portions are, we're all eating the same stuff. But I just split it 3 ways. She might get mad. Like, what? No, not the rice. Give them kibble. I'm like, no. My babies don't do kibble. They barely get dog treats. Their dog treats are Slim Jims and beef jerky. What you mean? um, Cambodia banks offer attractive interest rates of 5 to 18% on term deposits, allowing savings to grow over time, which is higher than America because America right now has some checking accounts up to $500 that are offering 5.14 or 5.25% interest, and the credit unions are doing like 7.25% interest. But Cambodia's got banks that are doing 8% interest. That's wild. Affordable real estate can be rented out for consistent passive income. And when you rent outside popular expat areas and negotiate prices to save $150 to $200 monthly, you would be able to do things like use a bicycle or motorcycles instead of tuk-tuks to save up to $1,080 more dollars in addition to the other $1,500 that we were talking about. You can shop at local markets instead of international supermarkets and cut grocery costs by $720 to $1,080, which all of the cuts that you save, and you probably only going to be like the lady told me that she had a buddy that was out there in Cambodia living off of less than $800 a month. And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right for Asia. And based on the way you could cut costs by a lot doing this, like you could end up with the amount of money that we pay on taxes for the stuff that we purchase, like we could buy a whole month worth of living in Cambodia. Like, I don't know why we haven't been thinking about this, but we need to start looking into it now. You can reduce electricity costs by using fans instead of air conditioners and bundling internet services, which I already did. We got ceiling fans and box fans. We don't need AC. You know, when it was hot, the AC was set at 78. When it was cold, the heater was set at 72. That was it. If it got hotter than 72, I would not turn the AC on until the heat rose past 85. So if we're in limbo between 65 and 76 degrees, the AC is off for like 3 months, twice a year. So I typically only use the heat and the air during Q1 and Q3 specifically. Q2 and Q4, I don't use it. Light bill be $50 a month. Trying to tell you. Now in Cambodia, cultural norms and traditional plays, cultural norms and traditions play a significant role in shaping interactions between men and women in Cambodia. So you guys are going to love this part because women address men with formal titles like Luck, followed by their name, reflecting respect and politeness. We have never had that. We have been called every dirty thing in the book, and they don't even care what our name is in America. So the fact that they have, what do you call those, euphemisms, where they apply respect to your name upon an engagement, that is fantastic. Now, women often use traditional Cambodian greetings like the sampesh, which is palms pressed together with a slight bow. That's one of these things like this, instead of physical contact like handshakes or high fives or fist bumps or Austin 316 middle fingers. You know, so this practice emphasizes modesty and respect, which is something that a lot of us forgot about here in America. Now, Cambodian women are traditionally expected to be modest and demure, which all men have been looking for. So this might be the best place to go next to the Philippines. You could actually probably go to the Philippines, pick up a wife, take her to Cambodia, and make it do what it do. Now, men often take the role of providers in the Cambodian culture while women focus on family responsibilities. The urbanization and education are shifting these roles, with more women pursuing careers and higher education, leading to greater equality in relationships. And women are tending to keep romantic relationships private until engagements. So instead of everybody under the sun knowing who their old man is, it is on the low. until they get engaged. And this is going to allow them to avoid societal judgments, which, I mean, it keeps their modesty, because instead of everybody knowing that she a hoe because her body count is like 300 because she's got a different man every week, don't nobody know who she talking to until she's engaged. Now, this reflects a value placed on modesty and reputation, which I have been preaching to the women forever. Y'all need to think about this. Now, families often play a significant role in the relationships, which we need if that role is appropriate, providing advice and influencing partners' choices, where the old folks is encouraging the young folks to stay together. That's something that we need to start working on here in the Americas, because instead of us saying, oh, he ain't shit, she ain't shit, no, you should leave him and blah, 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 blah. It's like, look, y'all need to get over there and fix that. Stop being assholes and fix that. Because I just told y'all yesterday and the day before yesterday how y'all can become millionaires in less than 10 years just by sticking together. Matter of fact, with the fact that you're doing it for the sake of the money, you don't even need to do it with no female. You could just do it with your homeboy. If you and your homeboy both making $50,000 a piece, and y'all can become roommates and take 50% of y'all income and put it into the thing, within 10 years, y'all can become a millionaire. Y'all do that under LLC, and y'all divide the money in beneficiary, where y'all take 60% of the profits and reinvest it, and then y'all split the other 40%, 50-50. If you're making 175,000 off of $1 million, and you putting back the what 75,000, yeah, you got the other 100,000 divided between the two. Y'all both making 50,000. Y'all don't got to work. I don't understand. Like, there's ways that we can go about doing this, and y'all just got to ride that way for 10 years, and then after that, millionaires. And if you're making a decent quantity of money off of the thing, y'all can get there and start tacking life insurance policies on y'all old folks, so that when y'all old folks drop, y'all get millions, and then them millions would counteract the other millions, and y'all would be multimillionaires, and then you'd be making like $300,000-400,000 a year, where you put up 200 grand and split the other 200 grand, with each one of y'all making 100 grand, and y'all still don't got to work. I'm telling y'all, there's a way we can go about doing this now. Women are expected to show respect and politeness when interacting with their partners' families. Whoo! So that sassy neck swerving thing that these females is doing in the Western culture, that ain't happening over there. In rural areas. So this is going to be the outer city limits kind of thing. In the areas where, like, it's mostly farmland, one house every 1,000 feet or longer, one house every quarter mile down the road kind of thing. In the rural areas, women are often pressured to marry young, typically before the age of 25. The educated women inner city may delay marriage, but still face societal expectations. Now, the women have demonstrated difference to elders through gestures like bowing and avoiding informal language or actions that could be perceived as disrespectful, which is something that we don't have in our Western culture. And the key to achieving the wealth in Cambodia is to be open and to take advantage of these new opportunities with some of these women, because these women are able to balance the budget. They don't just, tend to the kids and take care of the house. They're like financially successful kind of thing. They can keep your money from coming up missing kind of thing. And since they're family oriented, their mentality isn't to rob you blind. Their mentality is to keep this ship afloat with the money that you hand them, so that the ship don't sink, because they counting on you to be successful for the both of y'all, even if they can do it themselves. You want to be able to be willing to take some calculated risks while you're out here. Now, the country is rapidly developing, and there are many chances to get in on the ground floor of some new industries and investments. By doing your research and staying up to date on some of the latest trends and developments, you can make some informed investment decisions and build wealth over time, where you can learn from others who have achieved success in Cambodia and use their strategies and modify them a little bit to your objectives, and you'll be able to achieve your own goals as well. He said, no comparison to Western women, bro. The way the Western women is treating the men in America, I'm like, there's got to be another way. There has got to be another way. I don't understand why men spend 3/4 of their life to get treated the way they're treated. With the last 25% of your life, you waste that renting the girl. And if you can't afford to rent the girl, you're still miserable because she took your inheritance after it took 3/4 of your life to get that money. She's spending it faster than you could make it. And if you run out of money, she gonna leave and leave you with nothing. I don't understand why men are putting up with that dynamic. But Lord knows there are so many different ways that we could put ourselves in a better position, because it's not all women that do it. It's partially the fault of the dudes that are investing in the ability to get laid. They're willing to spend however much it costs to get laid, but they're not willing to put time into getting to know this person to see if this person is valuable, which puts them in a position where instead of them getting somebody that will aid them, they get somebody that will entertain them. Now, entertainment is not feasible when you in the struggle. You can have an Xbox, you can have the GTA 6, you can have the membership, you can have a level 500 character, but if you work in 2 jobs because you got stuff to do, you are not entertained by all the stuff that you spent on that game. Likewise, you can have a female there. She's there for the fun times. You know, she's arm on your shoulder where you're not going places alone and all this stuff, but she's an extra mouth to feed. She's extra burdens. She redirects your attention from your goals and your objectives when she's not aiming towards your success. And in those situations, all it is a distraction. But you're voluntarily taking on more burdens from that same distraction. If you ain't got somebody that's willing to row the boat for you, then you need to throw them off the boat. I ain't saying that you need to make them row the boat for you. They need to be willing to, able to, and get in there and start rowing the boat for you, so that when they start rowing, you start rowing too. Y'all rowing together. Because if only one of y'all is rowing, y'all rowing in circles. You feel me? It should not be a situation where it's all on one person. I want that relationship where the woman is outdoing me, that requires me to do more so that I can outdo her. And she see me stepping up my game, and she gonna try to outdo me so that we keep getting better. I told y'all satellite was coming through. After satellite come Usman. So we had Bayside satellite, Miss Satellite here. We got it. Slight delay. So special shout out to Mr. Satellite, 40th time this year. This is better than Chris Jericho. So he's breakdancing on top the ton 616. Well, he gonna be all on everything. Eiffel Tower, the Tower of Pisa. He gonna be on top of everything, dancing on top of the White House, dancing on top of the CIA. Crip walking in the Pentagon. Oh boy. Now, in order to achieve significant wealth on a budget in Cambodia, you're going to need to have a solid understanding of the local market and the opportunities that are available. So you should research the different investment options, because I'll be giving you guys a lot of them. He said ton 618 is one of the biggest black holes in the universe. How are you going to dance on top of a black hole? Like, doesn't everything disappear in the black hole? When you're doing your research, you want to do research on things like the real estate and other business ventures so that you can find a foothold in whatever country that you're going to. But when you're going to Cambodia, you want to make sure that you're prepared to adapt to any changes in circumstance and also be able to adapt with any culture shock that may arise. Not only time difference, but lesser developed countries. If you're going to live a moderate, oh, yeah, it's on top of a pulsar. Well, I mean, if Michael Jackson can moonwalk on the moon, you can dance on top of a pulsar and a black hole. With the right mindset and strategy, you can achieve significant wealth in Cambodia, and you can achieve just about anything. I've had a person come and tell me time and time again that they can't do stuff, and I tell them on a regular basis. I tell them it isn't that you can't do it. You can do anything that you want to do, anything that you put your mind to. The only thing that you are not able to achieve is things that are interfered with by somebody else that has more authority over the situation than you do. So it's not that you can't do it. It's that you're not allowed to do it. So my question is, who has the authority to stop you from doing it besides gravity? Beyond that, if it ain't gravity, you got to find a way to circumvent that. Okay. So dancing on top of a white hole. Now, that's scary. I'm familiar with black holes. I'm not as familiar with white holes, and white holes are starting to get really close to glory holes. Now, I told you Bayside, Laos was one of the other countries we're going to be talking about today. Laos presents a range of promising investment opportunities driven by strategic locations and infrastructure, where I do believe Laos is to the northeast of Cambodia, if I remember correctly. And this is another one of those investor-friendly countries where Laos has established 21 SEZs in regions like Vientiane and Savannakhet. Offering tax incentives, corporate tax exemptions up to 15 years, and customs duty reductions on imported materials. Now, these zones attract investments in manufacturing, trade logistics, tourism, and industrial processing for exports. Now, major projects like the China-Laos Railway and highways like Laos to neighboring countries have transformed the nation's connectivity, reducing transport costs and enhancing trade flows. So dry ports along borders with Thailand and Vietnam further bolster trade logistics, with over 2.4 million foreign visitors in 2023. Laos tourism sector is booming now. Liberalized aviation policies and aviation policies, investments in hospitality services provide lucrative opportunities. They have some clean energy projects, including hydropower and renewable energy initiatives, and are priority area for investments, similar to Russia, Bolivia, Belize, Romania, and I think it was Singapore when I covered those countries. Now, the high-tech agriculture and food production are growing sectors due to fertile land and demand for exports. Sustainable hydroponic chambers are starting to become on the rise, to the magnitude where little mini hydroponic systems are being sold on Temu. So you can grow your weed in your house because they got the lamps, they got the watering set, they got the whole ecosystem that you could just put it in your living room and just start growing weed from inside of your house. And there are several manufacturing states in America where you can just grow your weed in your house and you don't need to run out there and go get all that paperwork done. Think about it now. Sustainable agriculture practices are particularly encouraged. I'm going to side note right there, and just thinking about it, you can fly to another country, buy you some cocoa beans, fly back to America with those cocoa beans, and plant those cocoa beans. And then make you some cocaine coffee. Because the cocoa beans is where cocaine came from. Check your local laws about that one. Residential property prices are set far moderate growth as urbanization accelerates. So the expanding workforce and consumer markets make real estate a stable investment option in Laos, the same as it is in Cambodia. And since they're all so close together, you could potentially travel from Laos to Cambodia. They said, I'm also hearing the coffee bean game is like going crazy, bro. Those people like Organo Gold, like that, there are places that are like you could literally sell coffee out the trunk of your car. You know, the only thing is that if you're doing that, you got to really put forth effort to get rid of the cases. But yeah, the coffee game is out of control. And if you buy cocoa beans, ground up the cocoa beans, mix it in with your coffee beans, and you have like a Folgers Crystal blend of cocoa beans and coffee beans blended together, and you just put your own company label in there outside of FDA restrictions, you can sell that and it will be addictive, like that Popeye's chicken sandwich where it was chicken on chicken on chicken. I was like, how you have chicken for the bun and chicken for the meat and cheese, and that's it. Like lettuce, tomatoes, that was too much chicken. And people were like beating each other half to death and trying to take each other's lives for a chicken sandwich that was made of all chicken and vegetable. Like, and really the chicken sandwich came from a bunch of workers that was tired, didn't want to get no buns, and just took 2 pieces of meat and put it between a piece of meat and just ate it so that they wouldn't be hungry on the job. And that just became a menu item that everybody tried to murk each other for. I could fry 2 sides, bake 1 side, and have a fried baked chicken sandwich that's better than KFC. I don't get it. That might be one of the cooking videos that I do. Marinating them in the Vino Cato wine. Bayside says, so funny. I just watched, they cloned Tyrone. Oh, I love that show. And they had a scene about chicken sandwiches like that. Hilarious. Bro, I seen clone Tyrone. Now, you know that people be making movies based off of reality. It is facts with a fictional story put behind it. And ain't nobody paying attention to the fact that we've been cloning for a long time. With human cloning on top of that. And we some folks is like, oh, doppelganger. You better be careful. That might not be a doppelganger. That might be your exact genetic clone. As everybody who put their DNA up there on Ancestry.com, guess who's got access to your DNA, my dude? They ain't just run tests on it and get rid of it. Every time they take a blood sample at the hospital, you at risk for losing your DNA these days. These people are selling everything. They selling everything. You don't know what they do with it after they're done. All you know is that they took it, they use it, and they're giving you results. Those people who be donating their blood to a good cause, it's in a bag now. Somebody can take that bag and they can extract your DNA and they go do stuff with it. Anybody who's ever been arrested, they took your DNA and they put your DNA on record. They got your genetic composition in a database somewhere. Most of us might not even have a patent on our DNA. We might should start thinking about that and go and put a patent on your DNA so that if you come to find out that somebody's using your DNA, that you get paid off that nonsense. I'm just saying. Now, positioned in the gateway to Thailand, Vietnam, and China, and Cambodia, Laos offers direct access to dynamic Southeast Asian markets. So I was incorrect. I thought it was Northeast. It's actually Southeast. Cambodia is Southeast Asia. And Laos is south of, I think Laos is north of Cambodia in Southeast Asia, which is why I was telling you guys northeast of Cambodia. Now, the government actively promotes investments through updated laws and policies under the 9th National Socioeconomic Development Plan from 2021 to 2025, aiming to graduate Laos from least developed country status by 2026. That's a challenge. You're telling me that like 8 months from now, you're going to no longer be the least developed country? Investors benefiting from corporate tax holidays up to 15 years and reduced import duties in priority sectors like agriculture, healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Urbanization is driving demand for goods and services while expanding the labor pool. While Laos offers many opportunities, there are challenges that you will be able to include adapting to that local market condition, navigating regulatory frameworks, and ensuring sustainability practices in line with the government's policies. Because while you can do some stuff in America and get away with it because ain't nobody said nothing, you might not be able to get away with that in another country because somebody gonna say something over there. Investors must conduct thorough research to align their strategies with the local needs, because in Asia, a lot of the times, especially when you're in real estate, you have to communicate with their land development government and get approvals for every step of the way. You can't just put it together and then have the code enforcer come through and check off the list. They got to approve every phase of your development. And it takes like up to 5 years to build something out there. We can get something built inside of like 8 months in America with a 3-month delay. 8 months with the 3-month delay. Now, Laos is emerging as an attractive destination for foreign investments due to its stringent location, infrastructure improvements, and favorable policies, with opportunities spanning SEZs, energy, tourism, agriculture, and real estate. It proves a solid foundation for long-term growth. Now, in Laos, the treatment of men by women is shaped by traditional gender roles, cultural norms, and evolving societal dynamics. Now, the women are often responsible for household tasks, childcare, and managing finances. I'm going to say that again because I don't think the women understand when men be looking for a partner. The women are responsible for the household tasks. We can get a nanny, childcare. We can get a nanny or a housekeeper, and managing finances. See that part right there? That's the part where the American women are fucking up. They are not managing the man's finances. They're just taking his money and spending it. If y'all was managing his finances, y'all would be valuable. Y'all would be walking accountants. And why can you count the man's money at Waffle House and Taco Bell and Checkers, at the bank, at the Walmart, at the Publix, but you can't count your husband's money and make sure that he's got extra money when he come back? But if you trying to get you some drink tickets, you going to count that money. You tripping. Now, men traditionally handle the physical labor, such as farming or hunting, stuff to that effect. Both genders contribute to agricultural work, but women typically bear additional domestic responsibilities. In traditional Lao society, men are sometimes viewed as superior due to their ability to become monks and lead households. I'm not trying to become a monk. I don't mind the rest of it, though. Now, women often show difference to male authority figures within females and communities, with families and communities. So under the Laos Constitution, women and men are legally equal. So this isn't an oppressed country, with rights to vote, inherent property, and participate in public life. However, cultural practices may still favor men in decision-making roles in some families, where husbands live with their wives and the families after marriage. So matriarchy societies where the couple gets married and the couple lives with the authority parents. In a patriarchal society over there in the Eastern country, the husband and wife gets married and they go live with the father's side of the family. In a matriarchal society, the husband and wife get married and then they go and live with the mother's side of the family. But even in this society, they still respect the father or the husband. The strengths bonds this strengthens the bonds among women, but places men in a less dominant position within the household, where women are increasingly involved in civil services and other business leaderships, which is interesting. 23% of business leaders. So it's not like they're backwards and underdeveloped. They are involved in urban employment. And in urban areas, women's income can sometimes exceed those of men. Urbanization and modernization have led to shifts in traditional gender roles. Nevertheless, women in Laos traditionally treat men with respect and adhere to cultural norms that emphasize male authority. So again, you guys are going to find yourselves one of those environments where you're going to be valued, appreciated, and respected in your society because you're a dude that is taking care of his stuff, as opposed to no matter how hard you try out here in America, you're not likely to see that same type of treatment across the board. You're probably going to get it from some folks, but usually because they're getting paid to give it to you, not because they actually admire or respect you or any type of duty towards mutual respect towards you. So Bayside, if you're fluent in multiple languages, I told you we had a trifecta today. There are many side jobs and hustles and careers where you can get paid to speak or translate. So this is going to be pretty cool. Voice actor salaries, and this is the first place we're going to start with, vary significantly based on experience, type of work, and location. And this is going to be one of the first ones that you're going to be like, holy snap. I don't know why I never tried to get in on this. Entry-level voice actors have an annual salary between $13,000 and $15,000, $13,500 and $50,000 a year, where their hourly rate is between $12 and $48.17. Entry-level actors often work on smaller projects and earn less until they establish credibility. Middle-level voice and real quick, you got the background voice actors, you've got the sound effects voice actors, you got the cameo voice actors, you got the one-line roles, you've got the plot developing actors, where the people that come in and they're at the beginning of the movie, they're the first person to get killed, something like that, or throughout a series where they're brought in just for one episode and they get knocked off just so that you can develop the plot, something like that. That's what those guys do. Now, middle level voice actors, annual salary between $52,000 and $87,000 a year, where their hourly rate is around $30 to $50 an hour. These actors typically have 3 to 9 years of experience and work on large projects like commercials or video games. Like CJ, his brother from San Andreas, that dude looks exactly like the character on a video game. And he's still running the streets like a gang member, just like his character on the video game. Like they just took the dude out of his life and put his lifestyle into the game. I was like, yo, that's deep. I would have to rethink my decision-making skills after I come to understand that. Now, the experienced and veteran voice actors have an annual salary of $83,000 to $199,000 a year, with an hourly rate of $40 to $100 per hour. Veterans are with 10 years of experience or more, often commanding higher rates for major studio projects or branded work. Now, you have unions versus non-union actors, where union actors such as SAG, AFTRA members, or SAG-AFTRA, they earn higher salary averages, around 59,000 annually, due to residuals and royalties. And non-union actors typically earn less, with median salaries around 40,000 per year, because a union has mandatory requirements. They're encouraging everybody to take those back end deals where you get a smaller amount of money up front to get the job done, but you continue to make money off of each project that you participated in long after you participate in it, because the project will still be circulating throughout the world for the rest of existence. Notice how some of those good movies bounce back after like 10-15 years of not being able to see, like you haven't seen that movie in forever. Then all of a sudden it ends up on TV. Like, yo, I remember that when I was a kid. Guess what? The actors that are on that show or on that movie that have a back end deal contract are getting paid again because you're watching this movie. And if they died and their royalties are willed to their next of kin, their kids are getting paid off of the royalties because you're watching that movie again 15, 20 years after it was made. That is the true definition of passive income. Now, transcription services is another way that you guys can make a little bit of cash. Transcribe audio or video content into text. You can also take a script and turn it into audio, but taking it from audio and turning it into text is harder to do for an AI. Rates vary by language and expertise, with specialized fields like medical or legal transcriptions paying higher rates. But the general transcription is 50 cents to $2 per audio minute, and specialized transcriptions for medical and legal gives you like $2 to $5 per audio minute. And then subtitles and captions for the when you're watching movies and stuff that's got captions in there, somebody is creating the subtitles for videos, movies, or online content. And this often involves translation and time coding. The time coding and transcription is $3 to $10 per minute. So $3 to $10 per minute, a 60-minute movie is $600. I mean, that's dope. Subtitle translations is $11 to $19 per minute. So you're getting almost $20 a minute. 10 minutes is $200. Overall subtitle rates is $12 to $22 per minute. Now, we was talking about this yesterday, like how can y'all have a little side hustle that could cover some of your stuff and not do extra work? You see this right here? It on the low end, if you started off doing this and you're getting $10 an hour or $10 a minute, $10 a minute, and they're giving you like little 10-minute projects, even if it took you an hour to do, you just made $100. You do like 5 of those a day, you're making $500 a day. You can quit your primary job just to do 5 10-minute projects a day doing subtitle translations. Language lessons. If you teach languages locally or online, students ranging from school, elementary school children to adults, their hourly rates are between $15 to $75 an hour, depending on expertise and platforms. Editing and proofreading, where the written content in one or more languages can be leveraged in linguistics expertise, and the copyright editing is going to give you $45 per hour, or $22.50 to $35 per 1,000 words. $35 per 1,000 words. Now, Back when I was in college, I used to do 1,500 word papers for $20. This was back in 2013. It's a $15 inflation right now where people are doing this for a profession for 1,000 words for $35. And I could get that done in less than an hour. I get it done in a half hour. And with AI technology right now, you could probably crush that in probably 20 minutes. Developmental editing, $50 to $85. Well, $50 to $82.50 an hour. Between $50 and $82.50 an hour for developmental editing. Typing and transcription, providing the typing services for documents or transcriptions of interviews and speeches. This is where we are right now. You have the freelance version of typists and transcribers, where their rate is between $15 and $40 per hour, or $1 to $3 per audio minute, depending on audio quality and turnaround time. Automated transcription tools charge as little as 10 cents to 25 cents per audio minute, but offer lower accuracy. So instead of them paying 25 cents a minute, they'll pay $3 a minute to get it done right. Experienced transcriptionists can earn up to $50 an hour for high quality work, and medical transcriptions salaries range between $31,000 and $47,000 annually, with the average hourly rate of about $18.65 an hour, where specialized roles like radiology transcriptions that can earn even more, with salaries reaching up to $59,000 annually. Notice these are not $100,000 a year men. Medical transcriptions often use a per line pricing model, 7 to 14 cents per line. And legal transcription salaries range from $34,500 to $47,500 annually, where they're averaging $19.84 an hour. They are right on the limit of minimum wage, where legal transcriptions with specialized skills can earn up to $54,500 annually. Now, I like the other stuff as a voiceover because they were offering way more money. Transcribing or turning a voice to text for medical and legal purposes is not paying nearly as much as the movies or video games. Now, specialized transcriptions such as technical, business, and academics has rates for these specialties which are higher due to the complexity, and those are between $1.50 and $3 per audio minute, which is $90 to $180 per audio hour. $180 an hour, I'm down. Expedited services or challenging audio may increase the rate, where beginners are typically earning less than $15 to $20 an hour, where experienced professionals can command $25 to $50 per hour. Now, freelance pretension is offer on demand interpretation. So I said I can't remember what I just said. Interpretation. See, once I put it in a different sentence, I was like, oh yeah, I know what this is. Offer on demand interpretation services over the phone or video calls for industries like healthcare, legal, or consumer services. They're giving you remote work to interpret phone and video calls, $2 to $4 per minute. So just to eavesdrop on somebody's call and tell somebody else what they said, you getting paid $4 an hour. Now, Bayside, you know that with so many folks these days that be gossiping about what they heard, you could spread rumors and get paid for it if you were just an interpreter. It ain't called gossiping when you're getting paid for it. It's called interpreting. So stop snitching on your friend and go get you a job to snitch. Now, technical translations got $30 to $75 per hour And then the intermediate projects are $75 or more for experience levels. You have community interpretations, where consecutive interpretations is $100 to $140 per hour. Half day rates for $300 to $550, and full day rates of $600 to $800. $800 a day just to tell somebody else what somebody else said. Conference interpretations as simultaneously, and this is going to be crazy, where your interpretation of common languages is $130 to $200 an hour. Full day rate $700 to $1,200 just to tell one person what the other person said. I don't know why we not making more money. You talking about $1,200 a day. You only need to do that 4 times a month, and you making twice as much money as the average American. Because median income for working class is like $1,700 a week. So if you did 2 gigs a week at $1,200 a week, or 3 gigs a week at $2,100 a week, you would be working 3 days to make more than the average person and have 4 days off. And you would be upward of an $80,000 a year income. Trying to tell y'all, we got our priorities mixed up. They got some gigs out here where we could be making us some scratch. And if you just came in and started doing this on an intro level, you might be getting like $20, $30 an hour, $15, $20, $30 an hour, but you would be on a side hustle, building up your reputation, building up your skill set, building up your connections and your network. And eventually when you get tired of your job, or your job get tired of you, you've got a job that will pay you to stand there and talk to folks. And if you bilingual, this is a thing to get into. Now, marketing, copywriting, this is cool. Hourly rates range from $30 to $75 or more for specialized projects. And these are some of the things that we can do to make, save, and invest money on the side, in addition to going to either Laos or Cambodia, so that we can make a bunch of money, make money for us. Because once you get tired of doing this, at some point you would be able to just throw your money directly into your retirement. And instead of your retirement being this massive taxable 401k or Roth IRA, you'll be putting your money in places where you would be getting residual income that's tax-free from some of the countries that I told you that don't charge tax. Basically, I said, Xander's $100,000 is like low income in the Bay Area. I know that. But if I'm telling you about the kind of job that doesn't require any startup, it doesn't require an intro fee, you can do it on the side, in addition to your regular job. And if you're getting paid to go to work 3 days a week, and you're making $700 a day, you can make $1,400 on your days off, your 2 days off, which is going to pay you more money on your 2 days off than what you're getting paid at $15 to $18 an hour, working regular wage for your 9-to-5 job. A lot of these jobs don't pay more than $60,000 a year, but they don't require you to do nothing but talk to people or take what you heard and put it on paper. There's no manual labor involved with that. You're typing stuff. If you can find an AI software to help you expedite the progress, you can fast track it and then proofread the audio file, proofread the AI system, which cuts your work in half. If you're doing something about it by the job, and you're able to get more jobs done in a shorter period of time, one or two things happen. You're either making more money in the same period of time, or you're working less for the same quantity of money. Either way, you either have more free time or more money, instead of being on a fixed income from hourly wages where you get paid for your presence. So while $100,000 it's not like low income. Let's be factual about our recession. It is low income, because 79,000 is considered poor based on inflation. And if Donald Trump don't do something about these tariffs, $100,000 is going to be poor. But the fact is that you could get paid to talk to folks. You could get paid to tell one person what somebody else said. And if I'm getting paid $54,000 to listen to you talk and tell somebody else what you said, that is easy money. I don't care if inflation got minimum wage at 100,000 a year. Because if you working for 10 hours a night, 6 nights a week, in order to make that same 65,000 a week, when you could just work 3 days a week for probably 8 hours and get paid the same amount of money, I don't know why you're not doing that. Because if you got one gig that'll pay you 54,000 a year to talk to folks, the other job can pay you 55 or 60,000 a year to type stuff. You still got 2 jobs. You still only working 45, 50 hours a week, but now you drawing back 110, 120,000 a year, and you're not breaking your back, spraining your ankle, lifting heavy stuff, sweating to death, answering to the beat of somebody else's drum, driving cross country to show up for work, because you can do this from your home remotely. Most of it, at least the typing part can, not the interpretation part, but you get to travel for the interpretation part. And if they cover room and board and transportation, you can go to a lot of places and interpret a lot of stuff because they're paying you to do it. And all it takes is for Matt Rife to put you up on a TikTok platform, and you're going to be a famous interpreter, and everybody's going to be asking for you. The fact is that I'm not telling you, oh, this $30,000 or this $40,000 a year job is an awesome job for you to get. I'm telling you that this $30 to $50,000 or $60,000, $70,000 side gig brings in enough opportunity to either subsidize your income as a part-time worker and increase your revenue by 25 or 30,000 a year, or you can like what you do and it could actually replace your primary job, where your primary job, you sweating to death, you always stressed out, you pissed off that your colleagues aren't working hard enough. You're working extra hard to offset their laziness so that your team doesn't get fussed at for a lack of productivity. And you've got to show up on your days off because people don't come into work, and they won't give you the schedule that you need so that you can have the correct days off that you need. But they will definitely schedule you on your day off to call you in on your day off to cover the guy that they know is not going to come in. It's like, bro, why don't you just put me on the schedule that day? You already know that so-and-so ain't coming. But you don't got to deal with stuff like that if you find the kind of job where it's like, all right, say this, I give you $800. You got yourself a deal. And you knock that back like 4 times a month. That makes sense. That makes sense. So even though the cost of living is, and I just want to point out, Bayside, that I actually covered this on the show quite a few times, that there are certain areas, like you think that 100,000 is a problem in Florida. There are certain areas of America where 250,000 is the requirement to be poor. Like, and that was like 2 months ago. So there's some stuff that, like, I be trying to tell y'all, like, we got to find ways to make extra money, make money for us. So if you make it to be a millionaire, you can fly to other places and you're making 150, 175,000 a year. But see, the downside is that if you're living in a country with mass advancements of inflation, that 175,000 a year, you're not going to have to work, but you're going to slowly creep down to a lower middle class, lower class lifestyle. However, if you're making millions and you're able to fly to other countries, since the tariffs will benefit the value of the US dollar, your $100 bill will be worth more currency in a different country, which means that your $1 million might be $100 million in a different country. He said, wow, poor 250,000, shake my head. All right, I'm trying to tell you, especially if you talk about a family of 4. A wife of 2 kids, husband, wife of 2 kids. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They're not going to get government assistance, but they're definitely considered lower income. In there's like 4 states, and I covered it on the show. So when we were talking about I think when we were talking about California burning to the ground, either that day or the week after that, we were talking about some real estate investments, and we were talking about standards of living. And I was like, holy crap, because over in California, you need almost $5,000 a month just for the rent. And somebody had to challenge my ability to know what I'm talking about. And I had to do extra research about the standard of living. And I came to show them, like, bro, like, depending on where you're at, you would need $250,000 just to be broke. Like I did that because it was a dude that challenged me, but I did that because after I did the research, it actually justifies the average woman's design to want a man to make $100,000 a year. It makes sense for them to make that request. They're not bullshitting right now. But the problem that I have with that is that if the median income, well, the median standard of living right now is between 69 and 79,000 a year. You'll be able to live comfortably with 70,000 a year. And that means that if both of y'all are making 40,000 a year, y'all can live comfortably. If both of y'all are making 50,000 a year, that means that you got the ability to put away 30,000. If both of y'all are making 55 or 60,000 a year, that means that y'all both got the ability to combine y'all income and put away 50 or 60,000. And that's where I started complaining, because I'm like, well, hold on, we don't have to be $100,000 a year as a man if we're in a relationship where our combined income is bringing in 125,000 a year. The responsibility should not be solely on the man, especially in an economy where the women do not want to be a subordinate or submissive to the man. If you want to be halfway in charge, you need to be halfway financially invested in this shit. And if you're halfway financially invested in this shit, I can pay all the bills. We could take all of your money invested into the stock market. We can let that sit for 10 years, and then we can both quit our jobs, and we can spend the next 30 years living life together. That's a massive incentive to not cheat. That's a massive incentive to not stray away from your relationship goals, because if there's $250,000 in the bank right now, and if that gets cut in half, like somebody's going to feel cheated, you're not going to fuck that up. You're not that incentivizes you to respect your partner, because how are you going to dismantle this financial institution that you built if you mess up the relationship? So if you're not going to do it out of respect for your partner, do it out of the investment that you just put up. And basically I said California can thank tech companies raising the cost of living in California. And it wasn't just the tech companies. It was at $360 billion worth of property damage from that forest fire that covered 2/3 of the state. It was the billionaires that were willing to pay 10 times the standard of living to rent an apartment so that they wouldn't be homeless. That fucked up the rotation. It was a $3.5 million per house that fucked up the rotation. That's what happened. I don't know. I can't see myself. I could see myself spending $3.5 million on a house if I got $30 million. I could see myself spending $3.5 million on a house if I've got $15 million. But nah, I can't see myself spending $5,000 a month renting no house. I got caught over a barrel spending $3,000 a month mortgaging a house in Florida. I ain't trying to do that again. They start talking about $2, $3, $4, $5 grand. I'm like, shit, I might as well go ahead and just buy the house cash up front. Because if you build enough capital and you leverage that capital, get a cash loan, buy the place cash up front, and then take your dividends and pay on the cash loan. Everything that you do, you leverage the cash loans. You can control your spending, because if you got $250,000 or let's say you got $500,000 in stocks, you leverage that $500,000 to get you $500,000 to buy the house. You buy the house. Now you're paying the note on that $500,000 worth of stock. You ain't buying nothing else till that loan is done. If the house didn't cost $500,000, if you had $75,000 left over, what you might do is put that $75,000 into the stock. If you don't use it to settle some of the commodities around the way, like take it and go buy your brand new car, where you got $500,000 for the house, you ended up using $500,000 to go buy the house for like 400 or 425,000, and you got that 75,000. You go buy you a car and the change left over. You own the car, you own the house. Your $500,000 loan, you're paying on that with the profits from the dividends distributed from the shares. You're not paying no taxes. That makes sense. I'm not about to. I just heard from one of the wealthy men that he either leases it if he can't buy it, or he buys it if he can't lease it. He's not financing nothing. He either leases it because you can write it off on a business as a business expense if you lease the car, or you buy it cash up front because you get a 100% tax deduction on the value of the car the first year that you buy it, which means that you should buy all of your cars in December. If you made $30,000 or $50,000 worth of money this year and you can't do nothing else but finance a car, not finance, but like buy a car, you get your cash loan, you buy the car cash up front, you take your profits, you put it on that cash loan, you take that $60,000 car, 100% tax deduction. Long as the car is bought before the end of the fiscal year. Even if you finance it, it's the same thing. It's 100% tax deduction. But why pay the interest on financing it when you can own it? Because financing the car doesn't give you a deduction. Buying the car gives you the deduction. Financing the car is just throwing money away. So if you buy the car and get the deduction from buying the car, the loan that you have, that your business loan that you're paying on, working capital loan that you're paying off on, the dividends distributed from the stock option pays the working capital loan. There's no profit. So you just owned the vehicle and eliminated the tax burden from the stock option. Instead of paying taxes on a car, paying taxes on the stock, and then paying interest on the cash, which is what the middle class do. Because the poor people can't afford to do none of that. The poor people wait till the middle class people use up the car, and then they go buy the car as the third or fourth owner with like 150,000 miles on that bad boy. Which there's no problem with doing that, because if you can get you a reliable make and model, it can be a 15-year-old car, because the value of the car is going to be way cheaper than the brand new car, same make and model, fresh off the lot, where the value of the vehicle depreciates 50% as soon as you drive it off the lot. And it only goes back up 25% if you bring it back to the same dealership. So the second time the vehicle is sold, it is valued at 75% of what it would have been sold had it been brand new with zero owners. So you can save 25% on the value of your car just by letting somebody else buy it first. And you can still get a car with like 10,000 miles on it and get 25% off the value of a $50,000 car. That's taking like $20,000 to $22,000 off the value of the car. But if you're buying responsibly, you're probably going to get you like a Corolla, a Camry, an Accent, or something like that, where the car is like 20 grand. So if they take 25% off of the value of the car, they're going to drop it from 20 grand down to 15 grand. So you're the second owner buying a car of 15 grand, where some people's stimulus check from their tax return this year was that 10 to 15 grand, where you should still be able to buy the car cash up front. Yeah. Now, one of the good things about having assets that you have the green title to, which is just yet another topic for you guys, if you own the title to it and you end up in a financially strained scenario, guess what you can do? You can get you a cash loan on the assets. Yeah, you're going to be paying interest on that loan, but you can now leverage your vehicle for 50% of its value and get the cash that you were looking for to cover the emergency situation that you're dealing with. And that'll keep you from having to liquidate any of your stocks. And then you can still utilize 7 months down the line a cash loan from your stock option to cover the other loan that you got, to release all of your assets from that loan, boost your credit score up, and cover that as a debt. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this stuff. But the fact is that the wealthy chase debt to prevent from paying taxes. The poor chase debt to try to catch up to it. And the middle class run from debt and try their best to not have any of it by paying it all off. I would prefer to be the first one, where I don't have to worry about paying taxes because I spent too much money, as opposed to I can't afford to pay my bills because I didn't make enough money, or I'm broke because I paid off all my bills. I would prefer to just not have to pay taxes because I spent too much money. And most people would feel that way. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like, shit, we could slide over to some other places and live a little bit cheaper for a little while. Because as an American citizen, you can have dual citizenship. So you can go to places like Laos and Cambodia, Vietnam and Philippines, and live there for 5 years at like $12,000 a year and live good, and then come back to America. You can do that. Have your money making money for you. And then when you come back, because you were living off of 25% of your income, when you come back, you'll be a multimillionaire and everything gonna be cheap for you because you got it like that now. But once you start living modestly and you get used to that, you spend 5 or 10 years living modestly. When you come back to America, you're not trying to buy the biggest house on the block with the biggest car, the most expensive outfit. You're going to be trying to find something cheap. You're going to be trying to find something efficient that deals what it's supposed to do. How hard is it to get dual citizenship? It's easier than getting citizenship in America, I can tell you that. What you have to do is first go to a country that authorizes dual citizenship, or just go to a country that does not prohibit you from getting citizenship without you having to forfeit citizenship from another country. That is identified as dual citizenship. So you already have citizenship in one country and you go to another country without relinquishing the citizenship from your last country. You go to the new country and get citizenship there. So you just have to talk to the local government there and find out if you have to retire your citizenship from your former country. That's typically going to happen with countries that are not in good standings with America, or countries that have it as a fundamental principle that you cannot be a national citizen of another country to get citizenship in this country. In that situation, then you have to decide, do you want to give up your citizenship or not? Now, those sovereign nation folk that are living in America right now, if they hopped a plane and left, you know they'd have trouble coming back because they're not a citizen. You got to have citizenship. Sovereign nation, you can run around, I'm not obeying none of your laws, until you hop a plane and fly somewhere else. Then they talk about nope, you got to go to Mexico because if you don't got a citizenship, you can't stay here. They're not going to hunt for you. But if you don't got citizenship, guess who's getting deported? Because you're not entitled to stay on these lands. So everybody who surrendered their citizenship, you can get deported. But if you do the one of the better ways to get citizenship is if you're starting up a business in another country. If you don't marry one of the women out there, that's another way that you can get citizenship. It's not that difficult to do to get citizenship in a different country. Usually they expect you to be an asset to the country, the same way America does. But America's got more stricter requirements. And it's very vague with America because it's all about you bringing wealth to America in order for you to come to America. In other countries, just bringing your money to that country is bringing wealth to their country because their upper class standard of living is our middle class standard of living. So if you have a middle class standard of living and you go over there, it's like a rich man going to their country versus them having to have a $5 million gold visa for the United States. You only need like probably $500,000 to go over there and be treated like a king. So if you got $1 million of assets where you're living off of $175,000 a year, you're in the elite standard. You don't have to do much of anything else. But if you were just flying over there on merit, you would have to be in STEM. You would have to impact their economy in some way, shape, or form in order to benefit them, in order for them to take you in. So if you were like a teacher, or if you worked in some of their higher end, high demand jobs where they have like a low work rate, and you're going to fill in the gaps, they'll take you in then. But beyond that, no, they don't have as strict requirements as America does. Basically, says, Xander, I felt like you were talking about me about buying a used truck with high miles. That was me. A couple of my friends are in the well, a lot of the times I be talking about some stuff because I done been through it. I done seen it. I know what's going on. Some of it touched close to home. He said a couple of my friends in the ops, my buddy is on Puerto Rico. Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah. So I be telling y'all, like, this is some stuff that I be trying to encourage y'all to look into, because this is real world stuff. I don't just be sitting over here shooting breezes. Like, I can literally tell you some tales and you be like, dang, this is the way life goes. Sometimes it's good stuff, sometimes it's bad stuff. But if we pay attention to, there's always another way. We find ways to make things better for us. Now, I got to show Usman some love to pop in. And that's a mic drop. Special shout out to Usman.
This is the elevation protocol. Rising above the chaos, taking control. My values not negotiable, my worth is my law. Surrounding myself with excellence, that's what I saw.
This is from the Higher Ground theme song. You can find some of the songs in the description down below, or off to the right if you're in the real. He said, let's go, right? Start rocking out. Do a mosh pit up in here. Usman says, T-Mobile, sir, how high would you like the stream quality? Xander, yes. T-Mobile, and how many pixels would you like? Xander, all of them. You ain't lying, bro. If I could get like 4K quality right now, I'd be running it. But unfortunately, I don't have the 4K quality. My integrated camera is doing 1080p. So I have to get me a better computer that has 4K quality. But at least we're in high definition today. Bayside says, I bring that up because some of my friends, speaking of affordable places to live and lots of opportunities, would be Mexico and Puerto Rico. Yeah, I covered Mexico. I haven't covered Puerto Rico yet. And because I covered Mexico after I covered Canada. But Mexico is a good place to live. Canada is a good place to live because the pesos is like, I think they're equivalent to pennies, because like 100 pesos is like $1 last time I checked. I have to double check it again to see what it is now. But if you went to Mexico with like $100,000, you're like a millionaire over there. So if you're making residual income from the US and you wire transfer that shit to Mexico, you could be living a pretty decent lifestyle over there. Now, Mexico was pissed off a while back because Americans was going on vacation to Mexico because the US dollar is so big over there, and they were causing unnecessary inflation because instead of them converting their capital to the peso, they would go there with US dollar and hand the people US dollars, and they don't have change. So then the people started in the high tourist areas started increasing the cost of the product because all the Americans came over with US dollars, and the locals couldn't afford the inflation. So Mexico started deporting American tourists because they, instead of them being responsible about the economy and coming over with a chunk of change and going to the bank and doing the currency exchange, they came over with a bunch of US dollars. They go over there with like $5,000 or $10,000 worth of US dollars and just start handing people $100 bills. And where that's like handing somebody $1,000 out of nowhere, and that just raised the cost of everything. And then when you leave and go back to America, like, oh yeah, I spent $10,000 in Mexico. It ain't nothing to you, but in Mexico, it's like, nope, everything is 100,000 peso now, and the natives can't afford to pay for it. So that's one of the reasons why I say, if you're going to be living abroad, get you a bank account in that country. Then instead of having to pay the currency exchange fee on a regular basis, you wire transfer the money to that bank. Then when you go to take the money out of their bank, they're going to give it to you in their currency. And you have less issues with currency exchange. So instead of paying whatever the exchange rate is right now, whatever the cost was to wire transfer this value to them, that's it. And then when you go and get it, once you get there, and that I told you that for two reasons. One, because of that, but two, you're less likely to get robbed on the plane. And if you're wire transferring more than $10,000, you're less likely to be robbed by the feds, the CIA, or the local police, because they'll steal your money and then put you in jail if you try to come after them for it. So to prevent from being robbed by the US government, you'll wire transfer the money to another country. Safest way to travel. So instead of bringing $10,000 in a briefcase, you bring you a cashier's check for $2,000, open up a bank account in another country, and take the cash out as you need it. Where in that scenario, you should only be walking around with a handful of local currency, enough to get you where you got to go. And when you start running down to your last ducats, you're able to head back to the bank and go and get you some more capital. You know, and if you're spending your money responsibly, investing your money responsibly, you should be able to take a lot of your situation and continue to send money to that country. And then when you fly back to that country, you don't even need to bring no stuff, which saves you $300 on baggage claim. Because if you're going to buy $300 worth of clothes in another country, which is probably going to be valued at like $2 an item of clothing, but if you're going to go and buy $300 of clothes in another country, instead of spending $300 on luggage and then you got to drag this stuff all over the place, you could just buy a different outfit every day while you're out there and wash and wear what you have out there, which is cheaper to travel because the money is already in their country. And we don't think about that part. We think, oh, if I'm going to travel to another country, I need to pack. Well, no, just look at how much it costs to get on Spirit or American Airlines and see how much they charge you per bag for the second and third bag to be checked in for an international flight. And then think, well, hold on, based on the currency, if I can buy 5 or 7 outfits, I can just rewash them. And instead of flying out there with a whole bunch of shit that I got to drag with me, I can just fly out there with the shoes on my feet and just go and buy some stuff while I'm out there. Now, if you're like me and you've got an image to uphold, or to bring all my suits, or I could go down there and get me some tailor-made suits from a different country. If I fly back with those, you know, hey, custom-made suits from the country I just came out of. And sell them, make some money off of them, sell the briefcases, because you can buy the briefcases brand new in a third world country, fly back to America, put them up on eBay, somebody will buy them. This is how the rich stay rich, because instead of them throwing their money away, they invest their money in things that they can make a profit off of later. Even if it's a reduced profit, even if they're going to take a capital loss on it somewhere, the capital loss is a tax deduction. So you're only buying things that you can write off, which means if you're going to get yourself an LLC and a C corporation and a 501c3 and combine those things together to save you a lot of tax deductions, you're looking at the tax laws or talking to a CPA, which that's a deduction because that's a specialist, and making sure that you're allowed to write off this purchase before you make it. You make a list of all the things that can be written off, then you start changing your life's decisions. And now everything that you spend your money on is a deduction. I'm going to try to help y'all with y'all 20-year plan, because I'm on year 2 of my 20-year plan. So I got 18 years left and I'm already on the right path. I figure 3 more years of this and you're going to see me all over the place telling you I told you so. Actually, I think about maybe 2 years. I said that 5 years into my 20-year plan that I will be traveling the world. But I also might be traveling the world with a team, which means I got to cover a bunch of plane tickets. So when I'm doing that, I want to make sure that I'm doing it fiscally responsibly. So, you can't have Kamala Harris coming out there because she's going to be running up the damn bill, ordering a bunch of shit on the plane, talking about some hidden fees. You got to bring somebody that don't touch nothing, don't eat nothing. He said, okay, I'm with you, Xander. I'm trying to get to, what is that? Santorini, Italy. Well, that's one of the places I have not talked about. Italy. Bet. All right. Next Wednesday, Italy. That's all it takes is somebody to catch me in the middle of a conversation. And that's our country for next week. Italy. We're going to be talking about different ways that we can make some money in Italy. Because a lot of the places do have some similar stuff, but the structure is different. The pay scale is different. The financial benefits are different. Some of the countries have taxes. Some of the countries don't have taxes. Some of the countries have better trust options than others. And what you want to do is you want to set it up to where your money is making money for you. You can redirect the capital multiple different times so that your money ends up in a safe space where no country is running off with your dividends. And then you funnel it to yourself where you have the ability to use that money. Now, since the money is coming from out of that country, whatever country you're in right now, they're not going to tax you on the money that you're getting because it's offshore money. And that gives you the ability to live free and spend less money on, subsidizing the pockets of politicians that could care less if you succeed or not. And that's what I'm about. So right now you're talking about going to Italy. I'm talking about going to Asia. I want to go to Italy too, but I want to go to Asia. And one of the reasons why I want to go to Asia is because I want to make sure that the other half of my team is dedicated to my cause. Because it's better when you're in a partnership. You can't do it all by yourself. Everybody needs a second person. Everybody needs a wingman. We always need a goose to our maverick. We always need somebody that's going to go down with us. And we also need somebody who's going to make sure that we don't go down to begin with. So if we don't have selfish people riding our coattails, if we don't have people that are weighing us down, we can become more successful. So if you find people who are fiscally responsible to jump on your shit and help you build wealth, when they see what you're running, they're gonna take what you got going on and they're gonna be like, ooh, and they're gonna flip it in spades. Because if they're benefiting from the extra money that you're making, they're gonna make sure that you make more money so that they can get more shit. But if you're dealing with folks, especially the Western folks, that have such an expensive taste that they can't afford to cover their lifestyle, they're too broke to think about building wealth for you because they're selfishly trying to cover their own ends. They're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and just so happens that today you're Peter. He's a pimpin' to our MJ. Exactly. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. The mailman Karl Malone. Exactly. Dennis Rodman to the Lakers. Exactly. You need a good team. And that's why I was telling you guys yesterday about if you get you a good woman that's going to help you invest. He said a yellow Power Ranger to our red. Bro, you need the White Ranger to your Black Ranger. That's what you need. That's what you need. Between the Yellow Ranger and the Green Ranger popping up out of nowhere, backing you up after you got your ass whooped, you need you a White Ranger and a Green Ranger to your Black Ranger. Because a Red Ranger dumbass be getting everybody in trouble. I ain't even gonna cap. you know, at least in the original, because the Red Ranger was the leader of the team. Xander knows his Power Rangers. Lord hell. Yes, I do. I grew up in that generation. I grew up in a generation with Roman warriors and all that stuff. I know what's going on. As soon as you said Yellow Ranger, I was like, Yellow Ranger was the girl. Ain't nothing wrong with the girl. You had the Yellow Ranger and the Pink Ranger. You had the Black Ranger and the Red Ranger that I can remember, and the Blue Ranger. Now, the Red Ranger was a leader. The Green Ranger had the dragon. The White Ranger had the bird thing. And the Green Ranger came out of nowhere. The White Ranger wasn't a team player, but the White Ranger came out when the Green Ranger couldn't help, and the Green Ranger came out when the 5 original Rangers couldn't do it. The Green Ranger and the White Ranger is a Captain Save-A-Ho, and I love them. I love them. That's right. Godzilla the King Kong. No. Not Godzilla the King Kong, because they was fighting one another. That's what we got in America right now. That's what we got right now. The men are King Kong and the women are Godzilla, shooting fire at everybody with their hair off fleek. Looking like a robot chicken. Yes, sir. I be paying attention to them Power Rangers. You know, I grew up with the Masters of the Universe. Come to find out that I think there was an episode where He-Man saved Skeletor, and Skeletor saved He-Man, because they can't have a universal battle for all eternity if one of them get taken out. Your existence doesn't matter if your rival isn't here. That's why you need haters to hate on you. That's why I be telling people that pop into the podcast and start trolling, I'm like, go ahead, keep trolling, just keep it appropriate. Because whether or not their comment is in line with the topic of discussion, every time somebody puts a comment in the comment section, that triggers the algorithm to show to somebody else. Every time somebody hits one of the reaction buttons, that triggers the algorithm to show to somebody else. Even if somebody thumbs down the podcast, that triggers the algorithm, because if a lot of people are coming to the thing and hitting the thumbs down button, they're going to push it, because negative attention gets more attention than positive attention. So me having 1,000 thumbs down probably gets me more than having 100,000 thumbs up. If 1,000 people are watching the full show and thumbs downing it, it's like, well, something about this everybody wants to look at, and they're going to send it everywhere. I encourage you to give me a thumbs up, but I'm just saying that's just pretty much how it is. People think, oh, well, they thumbs down it and they're not going to show it to you. Well, they're not going to show it to somebody else. No, they're going to show it to somebody else. They're just not going to show my content to you anymore. That's what's going to happen if you thumbs down it, unless you subscribe. But yeah, it's crazy. So if we have a partner, that's why I told you guys yesterday, if you got a good partner that's going to back you up on your situation, and then y'all teach y'all kids to back y'all up on a situation, then instead of just giving them allowance just to be kids, you give them allowance because they're helpful. You're praising them for being helpful. They're taking the money that you give them, they're investing it on what they want. You don't have to buy nothing for your kids because they're buying it for themselves. And that's a tax write-off for you. So you're saving money. You're building a business, and you're building a family business. And when you're building a family business where the kids is making money with you, your wife is making money with you, all of y'all, now y'all got 5 incomes. If it's you, the wife, and 3 kids, you got 5 income. It's the owner, the co-owner, and the 3 employees. Which, if you diversify the business, guess what them 3 employees is going to be? You got the owner, the co-owner, and the 3 CEOs, the 3 executive board members. And then all the employees that work for them by the time them kids is 18. So you start teaching them that at 8 years old. By the time they're 18 years old, you should have spread your company around where all your kids is out making money in different ways. And the residuals of you making them successful, they should be able to take care of you in your retirement. So if you made yourself to $1 million, if you got 3 kids, they should each one bring you $500,000 before you die. At least 2 out of 3 of them should. And if you already living off $1 million with no problems, they should be able to rock you out the rest of your life. Well, you ain't got to worry about nothing. They're the power of attorney over your estate, or the trustee of the trust. And you ain't got to worry about nothing. Just live life and enjoy it. Usman said, Red Ranger, Red Power Ranger, Green Power Ranger, Green Power Ranger Xander, Black Power Ranger, White Ranger, White Power Ranger Xander. You say it, and there's going to be one less Power Ranger in this show. Oh, wow. Oh, white power. He couldn't say it. Oh, Red Ranger, red power, Green Ranger, green power, Xander, black power, white Ranger. He couldn't finish it. Ah, that's the privilege. That's the privilege. Oh my goodness. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I love these skits. I love these skits. So yeah, I'm loving the way we got things going right now, because we're going to be able to move these things around. Like I told you guys, Fit Chef, they gave me the link, so I'm going to be looking into their stuff. I might actually go ahead and grab it just so that I can see what it do, and then go ahead and put it out there and do some videos off of it. Because they're going to be there. I think what they're going to do is give me some recipes. I thought they were going to give us some food, but I think they're going to give us some recipes for some food. So I'm going to move some things around, because I told you guys that we was going to be like chef this and that, where we're cooking this, that, and everything in between. Baking soda, baking soda. Shit, you think you ain't gonna have no grown ass man sitting up here shaking his behind talking about some cooking with Kaya. I'll be sipping on something and stirring the pot. You're gonna be leaning. And if I put it together before the show, I might even dive on the show. I still got the apron on. Hey, you love them back shots from Kaya. I was actually impressed by the food she was cooking, because it's been so long since I seen a woman cook. Like, I didn't know how to feel about that. I was like, wait, women cook? I know they talk about it when they try to claim that they're valuable, but they actually cook? Because if women cook so much in America, we wouldn't have fucking TV dinners. And don't nobody care about the fast food restaurants. We would not have frozen dinners if women cooked at home, because the food ain't supposed to be frozen. It's supposed to be made fresh. You know that in Asia, it is cheaper to eat out because all the food is made fresh. You get bento boxes and everything like that. So these folks be like literally making your lunch a couple hours before you come and get it. And everybody make fresh food. Then, to keep from having leftovers, they will give food to their neighbors and their friends just so that the food don't last till tomorrow. So they're always bringing something new to eat every day that's freshly made today for today. Whereas in America, it's made somewhere, frozen, put on a truck, drove 36 hours to another place, put on a shelf, sat there for 2 weeks, and then brought out onto the main floor. And then it sits there for 3 days. Then you buy it, bring it to your house, put it in your fridge for a week and a half before you take it out of your fridge and eat it. That's the American way. Nah, it was for her food for real. But when she turned around and she was shaking her behind in a counterclockwise direction, talking about some cooking with Kaya, that, yeah, she was stirring the wrong pot. That's why the women are jealous. The women ain't jealous because the woman cooked. The woman was jealous. The women are jealous because the woman was fine and she could cook. That was her fake hair, but that was her real behind, and that was the problem. The women were jealous. If the women were doing what that woman was doing, then the other woman wouldn't be jealous of that woman. That's a Snoop Dogg track right there. He said cooking with Morpheus, breakfast with Blade, baking with Black Power Ranger, dining with Black Neo, lunch with Black Lightning. Black. He said lunching with Black Lantern, but we getting it started with Black Lightning, because where's the fire gonna come from? Flame on. Broman's torch. Ah, sucky now. I tell y'all what, This is one of the things that, and I was legit gonna y'all don't know. I be sitting over here trying to reach out and collab with some folks, but I only got like 24,000, almost 25,000 subscribers. So not too many people like, yo, dope, I'm a collab with you. If I had, oh, I know, good times. But you notice that a woman that can cook faded away so quickly. It lasted less than a year. It was a trend that went viral, and it was like a few months, and then that was it. Now you can't even find like other people talking about her on social media that much no more. If you didn't subscribe to her channel when she was shaking her behind on the TikTok video, she gone now. She gone now. But with the millions of views that she was getting in that short span, she should have been trying to figure out a way to expand her platform across multiple social medias so that she could have had a whole cooking show where she could have been getting paid to cook food. And whatever, it didn't even have to be her man. It could have been her dad, her brother, her uncle. It could have been the neighbor guy that cuts her grass for free. She could have just been cooking food and giving it to that dude. I saw you making this on the TikTok earlier. You know what I'm saying? Now it's quiet. It's quiet. The fad is completely over, bro. Women that cook just died. Soon as tariffs hit, the women that cook died. You know what probably happened? She ran out of food stamps because them fucking meals were huge. Them portion sizes were huge. Them groceries are not cheap. Freaking 20-pound baked potato, bro, that probably cost her $55 to do. She probably wasn't making enough money off of the amount of money she was making for one plate of food. And that's the reason why she gave up on the shit. Because it wasn't because she wasn't popular. She was damn sure popular. But the fact is that when you're getting views on TikTok, like the 2 cents per 1,000 shares on YouTube, you got to get like 2 to 5 million views to get $20. And if it costs you $50 to make the video and you're only going to get $20 off the video, you're making less money than you're spending. And that's going to ultimately cause you to give up on that particular venture, because while you got a lot of views, you're famous, but you're broke. You got bills to pay. You got to work 2 jobs. Probably got kids to take care of. You got too many responsibilities to keep that shit up. That's why I be telling y'all to diversify y'all obligations so that y'all got more money coming in than y'all got money going out, so that y'all could take a good venture like that. She could have collabed with other females and started a trend where everybody was showing their dish, doing cooking competitions and all kinds of stuff, where they could have collabed, did a remix on her videos, which got her more views, and they all would have been getting paid. All I'm saying is there's opportunities all over the place. Usman said the neighbor guy that cuts her grass for free, Xander, is insightful as ever today. Bro, I'm throwing it back. You already know that the way she looked, bro, you can't tell me that a man is not going to volunteer to cut her grass. You can't tell me that. You know what I mean? And then if she going to offer the landscaping guy something to eat, them big old giant plates of food, he passed by with the truck, and all she got to do is do the little dance and offer him the plate of food. He going to cut her grass and her mama grass for free every month. Every time he come over, he can get the dance and a plate of food. That's it. Most men don't need much more than that. We need to up our standards, but because we haven't, I mean, he said, I disagree. Some females are just too jealous of each other to collab. Oh no, that's the crabs in the bucket scenario. That's why most women convince women in a relationship to leave their good relationship and be in the single role, because no single woman want to be single by themselves. So if they convince all of their other friends in their sisterhood to all be single, they're all a bunch of 50-year-old single bitter women with cats in their house, because each one of them left a man as the bad advice from the other one who didn't have a man. But all of them wish that they had a man. Now that they over 40, they can't find a man. And now their bitterness is going to be a collective that's going to be passed down to the next generation. Don't even start looking for a man because I don't have one. But that's not how it's supposed to be. But instead of them doing feminism with the positive motivation of women, where it's like, you got something good, I'm going to jump on that and do it with you. Where they had a trend where 5, 10, 20 different women were bouncing back and forward, like cooking stuff, and they could go from cooking to mixing drinks. They can go from cooking and mixing drinks to making whole meals. They could do recipes. They could made a cookbook. They could have made a Kindle ebook on all of the stuff that she cooked on the platform and sold that on a drop shipping platform on Amazon and made extra money off of that. You see how they could have got together instead of being bitter with one another and beating up their boyfriends because their boyfriends are watching this video. They could have been exploiting the trend. They could have took advantage of the fad. And what did they do? They let it disappear. They let a big money opportunity disappear, because what do all men wish they had? A home cooked meal. And what the women wish they had? Some fucking money in their pocket. So if you could put money in your pocket without selling yourself online, start up a whole cooking channel, make recipes. You can get recipes from somewhere else, change the recipe, do it in a gigantic portion, put the recipe in your book, put a little spin to it, put alcohol in all your food, and then put that book out there, and people gonna buy that up. Because if Cooking with Kaya would have had Cooking with Kaya recipe book, Amazon link, because you already know everybody who looked at the stuff that she bought is like, I wonder what she put in that. Bayside said, oh my God, let's go. Bitter echo chamber. Pearl Little Things podcast blew up because she agreed with men about female behavior. I am going to find a way to get Pearl to talk to me. And if I could get her to throw down on one of my shows, bro, I might even put her whole face on the on the thumbnail. You'd be like, it's Pearl. We might have to do a red pill episode just so that she can come up in here and talk about some stuff, because the way these females be doing what they be doing, bro, I ain't even trying to say, look, exactly. It'll be KO'd on this. If I could get Pearl to tiptoe over here, she got a lot of stuff to do, because she be doing like big groups. She be doing social groups and shit. I got to figure out what I'm just gonna, like, probably later today I'm gonna go see if I can what's up to Pearl and see if she respond to my communication, and then see what's up. Might clip this whole scenario right here and be like, yo, Pearl, my fans are asking you to come to the show. 75% male podcast. I kind of want to see what you can do with these guys. That might be the last time we talked about some stuff that everybody wanted to know something about. We had almost 10,000 people come to the show in a 5-hour period of time. We were hitting almost 2,000 views an hour on this small ass podcast, because I was talking about the inauguration. You start talking about Pearl, I might be getting 5,000 or 10,000 views an hour. I might have to do that shit on my day off, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and just block out the whole night and be like, nah, that's all right, Pearl. We're gonna run this until you get tired. Something like that. Usman said, put alcohol in all your food. Xander trying to give business to Alcohol Anonymous. Nah, I'm not trying to give business to Alcohol Anonymous. I'm trying to utilize the tariffs in a beneficial fashion, because since they're no longer sending the Jack Daniels and the Tennessee whiskey to Canada, I can get a lot more Jack Daniels and Tennessee whiskey on a reduced rate here in America, which also means that if I put a lot of Jack Daniels and Tennessee whiskey into the food, then I can make food like TGI Fridays. Because where do you think the Jack Daniels barbecue sauce came from? It came from generic Walmart brand barbecue sauce, and somebody spilled the drink in the freaking barbecue sauce, and they're like, oh snap, that is dope. And then they just put it into a bottle and sold it. But Jack Daniels, the true Jack Daniels barbecue sauce, has actual liquor in it. The off-brand Jack Daniels is just like a tangy flavor of barbecue sauce. But like legit Jack Daniels barbecue sauce, legitimately you get drunk off of eating the food. So I'm like, if you cook with alcohol, bro, it ain't for the kids, but the kids can have some. We're going to get out there and we're going to make it do what it do. Just on try to buy a new car right now. Oh, no. You're not trying. So when you're looking at tariffs and inflation, You have to look at it towards an advantage perspective. If you're buying a new to you car, you would have to buy a car that was made before 2024. That way you're not impacted by the tariffs. If it's a certified pre-owned vehicle, it's going to be at regular rates. They're not going to increase the rates because the car has already been sold once. If you're buying a car that's more than 5 years old, more than 10 years old, it's going to be a Kelley Blue Book value, which is the average rate. And you can talk the seller down on that if you want to, based on any dents or scratches that you find on the car, chips of the paint, stuff like that. As long as the engine is good, it doesn't matter what the body looks like, in my opinion. But the value of the car is based on how the body looks, regardless of how the engine quality is. So you get a car that looks bad, that runs good, you ain't got to worry about nothing. And you pay less money for the exact same car. If the car looked good and ran bad, the car that looks good and runs bad costs more money than the car that runs good and looks bad. Crazy. People don't know about that. I was in used car sales as well. You can go pick up cars from the auction. You can go pick up newer cars, 2024 cars that are being sold in the auction from repossession for like $5,000 or $10,000, and you can still get you a used car from the auction and have that brand new G5, and you only paid 10 grand for it. This is the stuff that people don't think about. He said, I've never tried alcohol in my life. I never knew people put it in barbecue sauce too. We put it in Kool-Aid. We put it in barbecue sauce. They have a thing called turducken, where you take a chicken and shove it up the ass of a turkey, and then you take a bush and shove it up the ass of a chicken, and then you cook it. It's a drunken turkey ducking. And actually, the turducken actually has a duck in the turkey, the chicken in the duck, and then the beer in the chicken. But either way it goes, you got 3 layers of chicken and alcohol in there. It's crazy. I've worked in 5-star restaurants, and a lot of the times the alcohol has like vanilla, cherry, apple, cider flavors to it. And you can add that flavor to the food, because when the ethanol evaporates from the heat, the flavor from the alcohol coats the food. So if you do it right, you actually don't even taste the alcohol, but you taste the flavor of the alcohol in the food. That's called cooked alcohol, which Vino, I was just about to say it. Vino Cano, I think that's what's the name of it. I'm bad at promoting it today because I'm tired. Vino Canto, the guys that I was telling you guys about yesterday, Vino Canto, they have the cooked liquor. And that's what I was telling y'all about. I was like, yo, this is dope. This is dope. He said it costs more to insure an electric vehicle. Not sure if it's true. Oh, fuck yeah. After all them houses got set on fire in Florida in September, oh yeah, it's going to cost more money to insure an electric vehicle than it is to insure a gas power vehicle, especially in the flood zone. That's right, because the car was in the garage when the salt water rose, and the battery is on the bottom of some of the electric cars. So once the water got to the door frame of the car, the lithium ion battery, which is like a nuclear bomb, is in the water. Some bitch caught on fire, burned the house to the ground. So the car insurance has to pay $500,000 to repair the house. So yeah, getting an electric car is sweet, but you're going to have to do it in the right state, because some states, and that also means that you would have to call your local insurance company, at least for the one that you have insurance on, or whatever insurance company you want to change to, and you want to find out what the premiums would be if you bought that type of car before you go buy the car. Because when you go to the dealership, you're supposed to put insurance on the car or have insurance to transfer to the car. You can fuck around and buy a brand new car and they won't let you take it off the lot, especially if you finance it. If you bought it cash up front, they might not tell you nothing because you own it. But if you finance it, they're not going to let you leave with the car if you don't have insurance on it. So you need to make sure that you're okay with those insurance premiums before you go to the dealership to buy the car. Xander, I like the idea of buying it from an auction and then putting it on Turo and rent it out for supplemental income. That's why I left that up there for a little bit. That is how you start up a rental company. you can buy used luxury cars that you could give two squats about from an auction. That's the investment capital. They have some companies that if your business has good credit or you have good credit and your business is in good standings, will advance you money for the auction, where they will give you capital to buy certain cars. You pay a monthly premium to hold the car on your lot. And then when you sell the car, you can pay them back later. Right now, that particular dynamic is fantastic if you do it right, because if you buy a car out the auction today, you can hold on to it for like 3 weeks and then bring it back to the auction and sell it for more than what you paid for it and turn a profit, pay off the money that you borrowed from the lender, and none of your money went into picking up and getting rid of the car, and you still turn a profit. What happens if you do that is your dealership looks like you're turning over cars, which makes it look like your cars are valuable if you are buying and selling cars, because people are picking up cars. There's new cars on a lot every 30 days. Nothing stays there for too long. And you buy them, you bring them in, then you take them somewhere and you sell them. You buy them, you bring them in, you might fix them a little bit, you take them somewhere and you sell them. And you keep doing that, turning profits on it. And then and then somebody else will come and scoop it up and take it. And they'll buy some too. And you can do a payment plan where they can put down the cost that you paid to buy the car as a down payment and then do monthly payments. And typically what you want to do is you want to buy a car that is usually 25 to 50% below Blue Book value, so that you can charge 50 to 75% more than what you paid for it, or 100% more than what you paid for it. You buy a car for $1,000, that's Blue Book value is $4,000. You put $500 into it, you sell it for $3,000. It is $1,000 less than Blue Book value. They're gonna buy it. But if they don't, you can bring it back to the auction and sell it for $2,000 and make you a $500 profit and pay back the lender and keep the other $300 as like the profits from doing business. You're not at a loss at all with that type of operation. But if you're going to buy a used car and use it for Turo, because that's what people were doing with their Cybertrucks. They were buying that $135,000 Cybertruck, putting their trucks up on Turo, and then renting them out at $500 a day. And people were renting them bad boys out when they first came, which paid for the cost of the vehicle. You don't want to do that with your personal vehicle, but if you're going to get a car that you could care less about and then rent them out, Lexus, BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, all these other luxury cars, and you're putting them out there because you got it out the auction for dirt cheap, you're renting your luxury car cheaper than the other people that are renting out their luxury car on Turo. You're undercutting the competition, which will have more people booking your vehicles, which means your vehicles are going to be on the road more, which means you're going to turn out a profit more, which means you'll be able to expand on your platform. All you got to do is just get the appropriate driver's insurance, which insures your vehicle on any driver that drives your vehicle. So if something happens, the insurance is going to pay for it anyway. And if all of that stuff is done under the LLC, every time you buy a car, that's a deduction on your stuff, which means that if you made $100,000 and you bought 10 cars, even if you bought the 10 cars using the other person's financing, you can write that off, even though you're only paying that guy $10,000 on the money that you borrowed. And the other 90 is the profits off of doing business. And you can do one of two things. You can expand off of that platform and continue to have more cars out there, or you could just start pocketing money. Yeah. You'd be riding to an auction 2-3 times a month, looking at cars, bidding on them. But you always want to make sure that you bid less than 50% of the Blue Book value of the vehicle, plus the including the cost of repairs. Really, you want to if you got a few $100s worth of repairs on a vehicle, you want to pick that vehicle up for, because they're not going to always be perfect. They're not going to always be in mint condition. They might need some tire changes. They might need some body work. They might need like oil filter, water pump, radiator, coolant, head gasket job, something like that. They're not always going to be in mint condition. But if you go to those police auctions, them motherfuckers will always be in good condition, with the exception of the 1% that got shot up in the drive-by. That's probably the only one that's probably not going to be good. But all the rest of the ones that are seized by the police, those are usually in excellent condition. And those are dirt cheap too, between $500 and $5,000. Like the 150 cars that got took in California from that race meet. They talk about, oh, we're gonna crush those cars. They sold them bitches in another state. They seized the cars from the previous owners and sold them bad boys in another state and made some money off of them. That's all you got to do. Just go pick them up from somewhere else. So you could always get yourself another vehicle and then make money for you. And instead of having the vehicles parked at your house, if you were the kind of person that was to invite, guess what? Real estate again. You can buy a piece of land that is an open field, right? Put an electric pole on that field, put a fence around the field, put surveillance cameras towards the top of the poles where you can watch all the cars, close enough where you can see who's doing stuff, but far enough away where people aren't paying attention to the cameras. You could put all your cars in that field. So instead of renting a space to hold all of your cars, you can buy a piece of land that's sole purpose is to put all your vehicles on. Or storage units, they have storage facilities that are for sale. You can buy those storage facilities, turn them into a parking lot. Don't tear down a building or nothing, but just use the parking lot to put all your cars in the parking lot. Then you can actually renovate the building and rent out the units, where a portion of the parking lot is all the Turo cars and a portion of the parking lot is the customers that are coming to use the facility. And you can make money off of the facility and then have somebody that works there that not only checks in the people for the storage unit, but also checks out the cars for the Turo thing. You don't got to do nothing. Now you're getting 2 paychecks. See how thinking outside of the box? It still costs money to get that kind of stuff done. But think about this, though. You need to have 50 cars in your possession to get a dealership license in America, unless you start up your dealership under somebody else's dealership license. So if you start with 5 and work your way up to 50, I'm trying to tell y'all, there's plenty of ways that we can go about making ourselves make money for us. Usman says, is it possible to get drunk from food cooked with alcohol? Yes, it is. It is definitely possible to get drunk with food cooked with alcohol. If you put enough alcohol in the food, or you do not cook the alcohol out of the food, oh yeah, you can get completely. Matter of fact, the year the Saints won a Super Bowl, I had made 5 pounds of wings that I had marinated in Seagram's gin. They were hot wings. By the time you got through with the 150 wings, that was, well, actually it was more than 150 wings. It was 1,500 wings, because everybody had 150 wings a person. By the time you got through with the 150 wings that was given to you, you couldn't drive home. Because I literally put a bunch of wings in a bag that was half full of liquor and put the sauces in there and let it sit there. Then I took it out and I deep fried the chicken. After I deep fried the chicken, I glazed it with the sauce that it was soaked in, which put the alcohol right back on top of the chicken. Basically, Louisiana hot sauce and Seagram's gin. There's a couple of other seasonings that was in there, but the primary 2 ingredients was Louisiana hot sauce and Seagram's gin. By the time we finished with them hot wings, it was better than Buffalo Wild Wings. You was like, yo, you could start up a restaurant. Nah, I'm just trying to get wasted for the only time I'm gonna see the Saints in the Super Bowl in my life. Now, we picked up a whole other side, like 13 different topics. To recap, building wealth in Cambodia requires a combination of smart investing, low cost of living, and a willingness to take calculated risks. So by understanding the local market and the opportunities that are available, you can make informed investment decisions and generate significant returns on your investment. So the potential for wealth in Cambodia is vast, and with the right strategy, you can achieve your financial goals. In addition to Cambodia, you can do the exact same thing right up the road in Laos. So while Cambodia and Laos have combinations of affordable economic growth and investment-friendly policies, which makes both of these countries prime destinations for wealth building on a budget that are right down the way from one another, you can focus on things like real estate, business ventures, agriculture, and passive income opportunities in both locations while minimizing the cost of living in either location, where individuals can achieve financial success without breaking the bank or dealing with excessive quantities of commuting. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure that you guys share your thoughts on wealth building strategies in the comments down below. And don't forget to check out some of the videos that we got coming up on budget traveling next week, because this week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we're going to be dealing with a lot of self-improvement and personal improvement, which is why I need to go find Pearl. And make sure that you guys keep a lookout for more investment tips and ideas on how to build your wealth without breaking the bank. So I thought that it was a fantastic way for me to tell you guys other ways where you can make money off of just talking. I was like, shh, if I could find a job where I can get paid just to stand there, I'm going to talk about it on tomorrow night's show. Basically, I said, good people, I got to check out. Great topic. See you tomorrow, X. Yes, sir. I'm going to see you tomorrow because we're actually wrapping everything up right now as we speak. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Special shout out to Bayside, Usman, and Mr. Satellite. I really appreciate you guys showing us love today on the show. Ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, we're going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And fellas, 75% of y'all supporting it. Fellas, I really appreciate y'all for showing us that support. Special shout out to Twitch, special shout out to Twitter for continuing to stay live with us. I really appreciate you guys. And thank you one more time. Remember, like and subscribe. Make sure that you swing back tomorrow. We're going to be here around about 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, which is about 11 o'clock Florida time, and about 7 o'clock California time, 4 a.m. Green Minutes time, and 4 a.m. Universal Standard Time. Thank you one more time for coming to this and that. Any comments that pop up on the show after as the show closes out with Higher Ground as our outro will be put up onto the screen as long as they're appropriate. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.